Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall,
And I'm Zachariah Musner.
and we've got another packed podcast for you. Our 700th episode, Zach, of the main show. Obviously, we've had over 100 of the extra shows as well, but that takes us to over 800 overall. But from the main show alone, episode 700, it's one of those landmark episodes. Hasn't the time just flown by?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, not so much.
Episode 1, March 2013.
Wait, was that this or was that with Pierce?
No, that was this. So I'd done the stuff with my first podcast wife, West Coast Soccer Weekly. Then Steve was my second podcast wife.
Right.
Then we had a little menage a trois for a while, but now you're just my third podcast wife.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, maybe don't. Let's not.
Looking for number 4. Let's hope it's a female one this time, just for the balance. We need that calming influence on the show to rein me in with my wild takes, of which there may be a few in this episode of the show, because we do have a lot to talk about. Snow is going to feature a lot over the course of the podcast. Not the rap artist. Informer, a leaky boom boom now. And as we know, nobody wants a leaky boom boom, Zach.
For real.
But yeah, we're going to talk a lot of MLS in this show, a lot of Whitecaps. We're going to talk CPL. We're going to talk snow. We're going to talk college football. And we're going to bring you some audio from a media roundtable that MLS Commissioner Don Garber had in Vancouver this past week that I wasn't able to get to because I was in Red Deer. I think that timing was on purpose, though. I think he was like, when's the Scottish twat out of town? Right, let's do it on Friday.
Oh, I could.
But yeah, we'll bring that to you in full in part 2. And then we'll unpack a lot of the interesting stuff that came out of it in part 3 before talking CPL final and awards in part 4. And then we'll kick things off in this part by looking at the roundup of the first round of the MLS playoffs and what is to come, because the schedule has also been announced, which seems so far away. 2 more weeks. It's just killing all the excitement and the momentum. It's just like, such a good weekend for the games, and now we're having to wait 2 more weeks.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, refresh me if my memory's wrong, but it's better than the times when they played through these windows.
Well, yeah, from my memory, they've never in playoff time played through the November window, though.
Okay, just the October one?
Yeah.
I know there's one they played through.
Oh, no, October they always play through.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, November, because it's postseason and it's the key games, they don't play through that. But we'll come to all of that. Before we get into it, our usual little banter at the start of the show. How has your week been, Zach?
Yeah, very, very, very full, but very good. I had my annual kind of work gathering in Whistler. So that
Oh, I
was
thought you were going to say prostate exam.
no, no, no. Up in Whistler. So it was very nice.
What was it snowy up there? Continuing the snow talk.
No, no. This was a year where I don't think I saw a flake, even when I was up there. Some
Wow.
good times, ate at some good places, hung out with some old friends, and yeah, it was really nice.
I keep meaning to get back up to Whistler. I've only ever been once, and that was in 2001.
One of my highlights of my week, though, I will share this at the front end, because I have other stuff for the back end, but I got to I don't think I've met him before. Friend of the show, former sponsor of the show, Darnell, the referee. Or what's his online handle?
Law of Darnell.
Love Darnell. Sorry, it's a
Is it
reference.
business is recovery family
He's
law
a
out
he's
in
a
Surrey?
he's a lawyer and he's down with the laws of the game.
Yes, he's a lawyer in two senses.
Nice.
Referee out, referees a lot out in the Fraser Valley.
Yes, he does. So yeah, and I got to see him. I got to see him ref at Vancouver FC's U19 game in the FVSL against what was it? PCT. What's the name of the team? PCT Punjab FC, I think.
Oh,
It was
that's
a
one of the
it,
newer teams, I think.
it was an 8-1 shellacking. But I thought Darnell, first off, acquitted himself great in the middle of the pitch.
That's not what you were saying off air.
No, no, don't lie,
I
Michael.
believe you called him.
The people know when you're lying, Michael.
Yeah,
Um,
you know when I'm lying because I usually start off air, you said.
um, but no, he quit himself very well and did great in the match. And I say that as someone who's watched a number of those games when I've talked to you lots about how horrible some of the officiating has been. But no, he did
Just
great.
in Canada in general, I've seen a lot of that this week, I've got to say. Yeah, nice to haven't spoken to Darnell for a little bit now, but yeah, good to know he's still out there refereeing. And when you said it was an 8-1 shellacking, I'm assuming Vancouver FC under 19's got the 8.
You would assume correctly.
Yes, I just thought I would check
Yeah.
because you seemed quite happy talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The future is bright.
The future's bright. It is remarkable night and day between this year's U19s and last year's. Just the from kind of getting it off the ground to like having a year to like actually get ready for it
Mm.
and build into it more. And like the squad is like exponentially more an actual squad. Before it felt a little bit more like a group of players trying to play together. And now it feels like a team where they're all a little bit more similar age, and like and some of them I'm sure have played together, but like they play more as a team and more structured. And yeah, Nico's kind of in charge of that right now. Nico Giannopoulos is the main dude running. So
Oh, for some reason I was thinking Mosquito, but yeah, I forgot. I
oh,
forgot it. Big goalie.
Mosquito, if you look at his stuff, he's on beaches somewhere. He's
Ah,
enjoying the off season.
mm, that's a good place to be, enjoying the sun. I mean, I don't know what it's like in your bit just now, as we're recording this on Sunday night, but it's like torrential rain outside.
I hear a little bit of rain. It's not as bad as some of the rain I heard, I think, earlier this week.
Well, earlier this week, I got my first snow of the winter.
What? You did?
Yeah. So, folk will know from last week's show, I was out in Red Deer for the CCAA Women's Nationals. First thing to say, the staff at Red Deer Polytechnic put on a tremendous Nationals. Brilliant stuff. Everyone that I met was so friendly, so accommodating, had a really good 5, 6 days out there. Got to go to the banquet on Tuesday, which no one had told me was formal.
Oh no. Oh no.
Thankfully, I at least wore a shirt.
Oh my.
Turned
I
up in my hoodie,
yeah.
my baseball cap, with my shirt on, and I'm like, there's a lot of well-dressed young ladies here in their black dinner
Oh
dresses.
no. You might not believe it. Kirk is laughing very hard in the background.
It was fine. I was over a table at the back, so no one saw me. But I did walk in and I could feel folk looking at me going, who's
Who
this
is
old
that?
dude that's just walked in that looks like he's a homeless person?
Whose grandfather is here and why is he dressed appropriately?
Why is he heading to where the food is? No, the banquet was fun. I'll tell you another story about that actually off air. But then the tournament itself was great. And let me get my days right here. I think it was Friday. So like Wednesday was fine. It was either Thursday night into Friday or Wednesday night into Thursday. But I think it was Thursday night into Friday. I woke up, was checking my phone, and it said snow will continue for 60 minutes. And I was like, what? Opened the blinds and I was like, holy shit. There was
Oh,
like 10 inches of snow outside. And I was like, is the game going to be on? So, pertinent to what we're going to talk about later, 10 o'clock. Oh, it was Friday because 10 o'clock, the pitch was covered in snow. 2 hours later, when the first game was kicking off, they got it all off the pitch and it was in perfect playable condition.
oh,
So, if a small university like Red Deer can get that done with snow ploughs and everything, and I know they're more used to that in Alberta and at that this time of year, why can't some of the bigger universities or even the big teams and the big stadiums manage to do something like that? Crazy. What I will also say, and this was very refreshing, when I saw there was all this snow, I was like, oh no, what's the drive going to be like to the venue? All the roads were clear. All the side streets were clear. And living in Vancouver, that was refreshing. Plus, everyone seemed to know how to drive.
oh man.
Yeah. I was driving this massive GMC truck. I've never driven a vehicle as big as that. I thought I was getting a small vehicle when I picked it up at the higher thing, and it's like, what the hell is this? But yeah, it was a fun week all round. Everyone was great, had a really good time, and I want to give a big shout out to the hosts, the Red Deer Queens, hosting for the first time and winning their first ever medal as well. They won the bronze game, a dramatic comeback in the second half, and lots of joy, lots of celebrations. The gold medal game for the championship. Oh, yeah. Do you want to say about
Yeah,
how
no,
you like
just
to?
I don't know if this is like, how your phone listens to you or like whatever, just the algorithm, like I like football stuff or whatever. But it was crazy because right before we came on, or right before you and I got on the call here together, I was just I opened the Facebook app on my phone. It was a dude who my wife and I had gone to school with in the late 90s, early 2000s. And he was talking about how his daughter plays for the Red Deer, what do you call them?
Olivia, Red Deer Queens.
Red Deer, yeah, there's another word in there, isn't there?
Not Red, well, it's Red Deer Polytechnic, but
Yeah, Red Deer, yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Red
you
Deer,
just get called Red Deer
yeah,
Queens.
Red Deer Polytechnic Queens, and her name's Olivia Lundell, and how just the whole talking about their season and talking about the opportunity to host and therefore be a part of it, and then yeah, getting the bronze medal was like huge and whatever, and just said how great it was. And then so when you and I started talking, I was like, "Does the name Olivia Lundell mean anything to you?" And you're like, "Yeah, how do you know that name?" So
Yeah,
anyway,
she was excellent, and an unfortunate own goal in the final, but it was just very unfortunate. It was just a slice that could have gone anywhere.
but aside from that, you said she's like the leading scorer for her
Yeah,
school.
leading scorer, leading assister, had a great tournament and was excellent. Now the thing was, the bronze medal game was on at 12 on Saturday, so there's a great crowd out for it as the host, and then they won it, and then you've got to play the gold medal game after it. So it kind of dipped a little bit, and it
Mm.
was between two Quebec sides.
Again.
Again, yeah, for my wonderful French pronunciation, that I had to apologise several times if I was butchering the names. Why don't they pronounce all the letters in the names? That's what I want to know. But that one was a very cagey affair. It went to extra time, and it was settled literally with the last kick of extra time.
That's
The
crazy.
team that won it got a free kick. It came in. The keeper punched it away, hurt herself in the process, was down on the ground, much like I guess the situation that you saw in Portland last week with the San Diego keeper.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
the ball fell to one of the girls just inside the box, and she just lashed it into the empty net in the 120th minute.
Wow.
So a dramatic ending, and then obviously heartbreak for the other team.
Yeah.
It,
But
it,
shout out, but shout out to Olivia. Good
yes,
job.
Olivia did well, and great tournament all round. Well done. A Huntsic Eagles. I won't try the French version of that. I did once. It didn't go well. And yeah, they won the championship again and had a great time. Next year, UBC are hosting the U Sports Nationals, so I get to do another Nationals next year commentating, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And commiserations to UBC. The historic three-peat didn't happen. They lost today's championship game 2-1. That was very heavily delayed because of
Yeah.
snow. They even cancelled the bronze medal match in that, so Trinity Western didn't get to play for bronze, but they gave both the team bronzes anyway. So that's it for the college chat. Last thing to say in the intro, well done to Vancouver Rise.
Oh yeah, they made the final.
Big win for them in the first leg at Swan Garden Tuesday. I couldn't get to that because that was the day I was flying out. A good crowd, 2-1 win. They were trailing 2-0 in the second leg. Friend of the show, Holly Ward, headed home the goal to send it to extra time. They missed their first kick in the shootout, and
Hmm.
then they get through in the shootout. So well done to the Rise. At the time of recording, we still don't know whether they're going to be playing Toronto or Montreal in the final in Toronto next week, because that game got postponed today
Yeah.
because of the snow. So it is possible to call a game off if you feel the pitch is unplayable.
What?
I know. More on that in part four. But what a week it's been for football in action. And we've had a brief chat by text on this, so we haven't really talked about it. The MLS playoffs this weekend.
Crazy.
Incredible stuff.
Absolutely crazy.
So we'll get into that roundup just now. So now we know the Western and the Eastern semi-finals, they're all set. And if the Whitecaps are going to host this year's MLS Cup, we need everybody to become NYCFC fans for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And hopefully the Whitecaps can do the business as well. And I mean, it pains me to cheer on NYCFC.
It
I
does.
I do love that black jersey of theirs that's half orange and half blue.
I can't stand it.
Oh, there's something about it I really like. And this is what I love about football kits. It's like you can have just so different opinions from it from people. I think it's one of the best in the league. And I know when it came out and we did our review, you hated it back then as well.
I saw it on the screen the other day and I was like, I forgot how much I disliked this uniform.
I just think it's so unique.
Hmm.
Like Two-Face. Because there's two faces of the club. There's New York and there's Manchester.
Yes.
Moving on. Are you going to be cheering for them to to get through to the final so you can see Thomas Muller in an MLS Cup final in Vancouver?
I don't think cheering for them is the right language. I think for
Cheering against who they're playing.
I think the Whitecap, for the sake of the Whitecaps and the possibility of having a final, uh, the closest MLS Cup final since what, Seattle in 2009, or no,
Oh,
sorry, Seattle when they played Toronto, I guess.
yes, when me and my donut eating friend.
Yes, I forgot about that one. But anyways, closest MLS Cup since then. Yeah, I would prefer to be at BC Place, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already preparing for having to make a trip to San Diego and then somewhere cold. At least I've had my snow start to the year.
Man, yeah, I mean, I San Diego is a different side playing at home.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were they were like it was like Jekyll and Hyde between those the first game, second game, and third. Like it was just back. It was weird.
yeah. I mean, they were phenomenal tonight.
Specific, specifically, what's his name? Dryer,
Yes,
Anders Dryer.
yeah.
Yeah, he
It's okay. He's got to go and play Scotland soon
yes,
in a crunch game. He won't be fit for anything after that.
yeah.
We'll get to the West in a sec. Let's start with the East, because we'll save the best to last.
Sorry.
So, Philly had already advanced. They got it done in 2 games. NYC dispatched Charlotte on Friday night. Clinical performance from New York in this one. A pair of goals from Nico Fernandez, and it was a
Yeah,
goal either
nice
side at
goals.
half time as well.
Those were nice goals too.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got two. Actually, all 3 goals were pretty nice. His 2 were excellent. And I don't know, Charlotte just looked so out of sorts. They pulled one back late on, but then Fernandez got the killer third 10 minutes in second half stoppage time.
Yeah.
And this was a bizarre series where the away team won all 3 games.
Yeah. So weird.
And it's now NYC trying to stop Philly. So that game's set for Sunday, November 23rd, 4:30 Pacific time. And both the Eastern Conference games are going to be on that day.
Hmm.
I mean, that's sensible. You've got the teams playing the same day. No team gets an advantage of rest.
Hmm.
Not the case in the West, that we'll come to.
No.
So the other Eastern semi, it's a battle between the the 2 other teams, unfortunately, that finished on more points than the Whitecaps. Cincinnati's now going to host Miami. So at least it's in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
The Hell is Real Derby was a fantastic match. Late drama. All 3 goals coming in the last half hour of the game. Canadian Jason Russell-Rowe fired Columbus ahead in the 63rd minute. A lead that was to last just 4 minutes before Brenner had the home team level. And then it looked like it was heading to what was going to be a very dramatic penalty shootout with everything on the line. But then the Brazilian, Brenner, had other ideas, buried the winner 4 minutes from time, and great fight back from Cincinnati. I really was hoping for all different reasons that Columbus could get it done, but it was a good series. It was a good derby.
A little disappointing. Russell Rowe had other chances later in that
Yeah,
game where you thought, oh, he could have done better, or
because he didn't start the first game. He seemed like
I don't think he
kind of
started
out
this
of
game.
favour.
I think he got brought on early, if my memory.
Oh, so I only ended up watching the highlights because the time I got back from commentating, I was like, I
If,
can't
if,
watch this whole
if,
game.
if I've not totally lost my memory, he didn't start. I think he had to be subbed on, unless I'm losing my mind. But that's how I remember it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it was great. He scored because he scored. He scored in the second one too, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So
He
like,
definitely, if he didn't score, he at least got an assist, but I think he might even have had both.
yeah. But there's a couple other chances he had where you just wish he just did a little bit better with, or I think it was like guys should have got on to the rebound, or he put in like your favorite cross come shots that people weren't connecting with at the back post, and um, yeah, disappointing for them because that also means that match signals the retirement of one Darlington Nagbe.
Yeah,
You and I haven't talked about this.
no, there was very emotional scenes at the end. He went over
Yeah,
and hugged his family and stuff,
yeah.
and
He's only 35.
yeah,
He could keep playing. I think I saw one interview with him where he's just like he said he decided in June or July because he just wants to be able to spend some times with his kids when they're at the age that they're at, and while his body's still in good shape and stuff, and go be a dad. And I mean,
no, that's nice.
talking to someone like over the years, like Nano, who went to school with him at what's it called, Akron, right? They went to Akron together, I believe.
Mhm.
And just hearing about who he is and his character and all that kind of stuff, it's like this kind of guy where he like, I mean, 35 isn't young, so
Yeah,
he's given a lot to the game in America and even the national team and the definitely the sides he's represented in MLS, including of course winning MLS Cups with all of them, the
yeah. The
Timbers,
Whitecap that
Atlanta.
never was, but could have been.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
We won't rehash all that again, but it
I
does make you
he
wonder, like
yeah, it does.
what his career would have been like if he'd ended up coming here. It might not have been as good.
I think if memory serves me correctly, I know, yeah, we have talked about this lots in the show. I think that was one of those things where I think Tater really wanted Omar. I mean, they had Omar in, was it on loan or whatever? The year before, they had him in training for a long time before, and they loved Omar. They wanted Omar so bad. So,
And
but I
for any
think,
newer listeners, this is Omar
oh
Salgado,
God,
who
yeah,
became the first ever Whitecaps draft pick. They got the first pick in the draft. It was Nagby, everyone thought was going to get taken. We went for him. Nagby went to Portland.
yeah, it is kind of the tale of two clubs that are, really you can point back to that, or at least in part. But I know there was the rumors that Portland started that he didn't want to come here and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he would have come here. But I just think and that was one of the few things that I think, if my memory's not wrong, that I think Tommy wanted him and Tater didn't, I think.
Yes.
And it was one of the few things where you look back and you're like, okay, maybe Tommy was right on that.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Nagby's, as you say, he's been a great servant to every team he's been on and the league as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is hanging it up to spend time with his family is tremendous. Because when you see how much travel these players do, like you look at the Whitecaps, and obviously we've got more travel here than a lot of the other clubs. But it's like they're flying off the day before a game, they're playing the game, they're coming back in the wee small hours. They probably then go straight to bed if they haven't really had much sleep. If they've got a young family, how much do they see of them? They get the next day off, maybe 2 days, then they're back training again.
Yeah.
It's a tough life.
It's a different kind of life. Yeah. But yeah, kudos to him for his amazing career. I want to say is 4 MLS Cups that he won. And the number of he won a number of caps for the US, and
Mm.
all the best for what's next. And he's the kind of guy you think you could see continuing the game in some way, shape, or form, whether it's one day when his kids are older, maybe getting into coaching or punditry or whatever, like
Yeah, definitely punditry I could see him doing because that might not be as
taxing.
involved and take him away from his family because then he's only having to go and do the weekend stuff.
Yeah. And so that game ended the career of a 35-year-old, but it continues to prolong the career of what, like a 40-year-old or 41-year-old in Kai Kamara.
Oh, of course. Oh, I was forgetting about that. Is this
Yeah.
going to be Kai's last season then? As he said he's hanging the boots up.
No, I don't believe he said anything.
I don't think he's ever going to retire.
I think I told you this, or maybe I don't know if I said this on the show or I just told you or whatever. Um, when EAFC, what is this year? Is this 26? Yeah, when EAFC 26 came out, and we were starting our traditional build your own club, starting in the third division in the Bundesliga. Um, we always bring in a few guys that we know and love and care about and know that can help us, because your team's got a lot of like a few 40s, a bunch of 50s, a few 60s, and if you're lucky, 170 or a couple 70s. So you want a few players that, yeah, are going to help build you. Anyways, one of the guys we tried to bring in was Kai Kamara. And when we when we clicked, to negotiate with him or whatever, it said, oh, this player, it said it wouldn't let us sign him because it said he was retiring at the end of the season. And so I texted, I sent him a text. I said,
You haven't told me this.
oh, I said, does EAFC know something? And he just sent me some laughing emojis and just said, he said, you never know about the future, man. You never know what's going to be next. So I don't think he knows, because remember, he was quite a late signing
Yeah.
with
I love Kai. Like whenever he's been here as well, he's always had so much time just to chat to us
Oh,
after
he's
the
great.
game and everything as well. And
He's so good.
yeah, it would be nice for him to get one last chance at it as well. Maybe even against his former side, although that doesn't limit it down. It's like he's got a lot of them. He's still got a few more to tick off before he hangs his boots up.
True.
But they all now host Miami. That's going to be an absolute amazing match.
It's a little disappointing Shaft didn't finish the job, you know?
Oh, Nashville were awful.
No, I meant like take out Messi. Remember how
Oh,
remember he tackled him earlier? Was it earlier this
yes.
year? Or
I
was it
just thought you
last year?
meant getting through
Oh,
because I
that
had
too.
high hopes
That
for
too.
Nashville going into this.
That too. He's already known in Argentina as a thug, right? So just cut down the little man.
So I came home from commentating on the last day at Nationals on Saturday, and I was like, right, I'm gonna see the three games, and I thought, oh, the Miami games started. I wonder, will I watch this live? Oh, it might spoil the other two. Oh, I'll just watch the highlights of the other two first. So that was good. No
Yeah.
spoilers. Then I went just on the browser and signed into Apple, and it has the not to show the scores, but their website, when you initially go in, the score is up for a brief second and then disappears. And I was like, oh, it's 2-0 to Miami.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, I may as well just catch up and watch it from that point. That was a disappointing game. I mean, fair play to Miami, dominant, but 2 goals from Messi in the first half, 2 goals from Allende in the second. They were in complete control.
It was just one of those games where he just turned it on. Like they gave him just, a couple moments again where like in the first.
Yeah, it's like they just give him room, these
Yeah.
teams.
It's like do you not have anyone like just put someone on him? I know it
It's
disrupts your
bizarre though.
team.
Like they give Messi room. Here, they leave Muller unmarked in the box for crosses coming in. They
Yeah.
let Son run at you down in LA. It's like,
Yeah.
what are these teams doing?
You think tactically there would be a benefit to adjusting your approach for some of these players?
Yeah. But see, that's what the Whitecaps did so well when they played Miami. They took Messi out of
Oh,
that
yeah.
game.
Oh, yeah.
And
Both
like
of them.
Kubis handled him so well. And it was a perfect way on how to negate such a threat. And the thing is, as well, Miami looked very impressive, I hate to say.
Yeah.
And they did it without Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Once
Oh,
a scumbag, always a
what
scumbag.
was he suspended for this time?
Off the ball kick out.
Oh, okay. At like a small child, a pregnant woman, or
No, a player.
oh, a player.
And, oh, Miami were not happy.
Yeah.
Because it it was shown and the commentators picked up on it. VAR looked at it and didn't send him off during the game. So what Miami weren't happy about, and I get it, because I would be pissed off as well. If you've got VAR and VAR's like, no, that's fine. For Disco then to come in and go, no, that wasn't fine, he's suspended. I get why they're annoyed, but he deserves it. There's no question about it. You
Well,
can't
that's the
just
thing.
kick out at someone off the ball.
They can be annoyed all they want. I mean, any league has the right to go back and say, hey, it was missed or misjudged
Yeah,
during
it
the
was
game.
bad. And we talked last week, we were worried that maybe Kubis or Ocampo might get something like that. Now, Ocampo did end up getting a fine for hands to the face violation,
Yeah.
but that was it. No suspension.
No, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's not like the referee didn't see him spit on that guy, so didn't red card him after the League's Cup thing.
Yeah.
You go back and you say, oh, yeah, he spit on the guy. Here's your 6 games or whatever it was.
But see, that's the thing. He's just had that suspension.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's never going to learn and he's never going to change.
No.
And a 1 game suspension, I mean, it's a second offence. I feel that's quite lenient actually for Miami.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think he should have been playing for the rest of the year to begin with
No.
after what he did. And then he goes and does something else that's stupid.
Very much so.
But it didn't affect him. And they'll have him back. That's the first of the 2 semi-finals on Sunday, November the 23rd. That one goes at 2 o'clock. So that's going to be an absolute cracker.
Is it TQL Stadium or TQL Park or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who have you got in that one? I mean, it's hard to see
mean,
past Miami, but
No, but I mean,
home
I think
advantage.
most people you prefer Cincinnati to win that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping it's Cincinnati taking on New York City. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be Cincinnati taking on, or I think it's going to be Miami taking on Philly, but I'd love Cincinnati to get through.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just correct that. Everyone outside of Miami fans, MLS head office,
And Messi fans.
and the marketing departments around the league,
Oh,
outside of those places would prefer.
I mean, you can imagine MLS marketing department is salivating at the thought of Muller's son already, and then you've got whoever gets through that maybe going up against like Dreyer, and then whoever gets through that going up against Messi in the final. That's their dream
Yeah.
path for everything to follow through now. But it's the West that we mostly care about. I mean, knew it was going to be LAFC coming to Vancouver, and we'll come back to that in a sec. So the other semi-final is now going to be between Minnesota, who will be
Mhm.
travelling to San Diego. Now, talk about wild matches.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I'd had one slight spoiler. I knew this had gone to a shootout. So when I was watching the highlights, I'm like, how the hell has this gone to a shootout? Because the Loons carried in to the semi by Canadian MLS Goalkeeper of the Year, sorry, Yohei, Dane St. Clair. Billy St. Clair backed up his Goalkeeper of the Year honour
Yeah.
with a tremendous performance.
Yeah, when he scored.
Scored, did enough to put off another keeper, had some big saves during the game, and like Minnesota somehow survived going 2 goals down in the opening 8 minutes and then going a man down in the 41st minute to take the game to penalties and almost winning it over the 90 minutes. So Rusnak and Muzovsky had Seattle ahead in the 5th and the 8th minute.
Yeah.
And I mean, you would have thought that was game over. But you know if Minnesota can get the next goal, they can do the comeback. Because as we know, Zach, 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in football.
True.
And so it showed once again.
Yeah.
Because Joaquin Pereira gave the Loons some hope, pulled one back in the 19th minute, and then those hopes looked to disappear with a little headbutt from once a scumbag, always a scumbag, Joseph Rosales, who, for listeners that might be like, I remember that name.
Yeah.
He was the player that then got suspended for the incident for using discriminatory language against the Whitecaps' Emmanuel Sabi back in May.
Yeah.
This time, headbutted.
It was moronic.
He headbutted Jesus. You must have been appalled.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't remember. Was it a foul or something?
So he dived trying to win a free kick, and Ferreira says to him, "Get up." So then he goes right up to Ferreira, and Ferreira turns around and goes, What? And then he just puts the head in.
Yeah, it was so
You're
dumb.
you're losing 2-1 in a best of 3 series deciding game, and you go and put the head in, and then he's like, What?
Yeah.
Clear red, no doubt about it. Absolute idiocy.
I think Jesus embellished it a bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
When,
But I
when you
mean, there's definite contact.
when you make that movement, yeah, and your head makes contact with the other dude, yeah.
Now, if I'm Minnesota, he never plays for me again.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
They backed him in that incident with Sabi, saying it was a misunderstanding or just he said thing, and now he goes and repays that faith by doing this, and it could have cost him so much, and it will cost him in the next game because they're missing him, and it's not going to be a 1-game suspension either if they get through this,
Yeah, you wouldn't think.
which is good for us if we get through as well and they get through. But like I saw some fans feeling it was soft and it was never a red card. The referee's got no choice there.
When you lean in with your head that way and you make contact with the other player, even if it is weak, even if it isn't a massive amount of contact in MLS, it's always going to be a sending off.
There's no ifs or buts about that. But as we know, Zach, 10 men is the most dangerous side that you can play against in football. Just get all the cliches out in this game.
Yeah, they were another side in this round who really took advantage of playing at home, and they were down on the pitch, but I think their home crowd like backed them
Yeah.
to the hilt.
I mean, it was an amazing second half from them. Diaz tied it up in the 62nd minute, and then Markinic, 11 minutes later, put them ahead. They almost saw the game out, but Jordan Morris at the death in the 88th minute, and off it went to penalties. And drama. I've seen a lot of dramatic penalty shootouts in the last couple of weeks. I was doing the Final Four Canada West, Trinity West and Calgary, and it went 11 rounds before Trinity Western went through. I think it went 11 rounds. It's all a blur now. This, in the end, Minnesota made it through 10-9. It went down to the goalkeepers. Up stepped Seattle's Andrew Thomas, who Seattle had brought on in the 89th minute with a view to penalties, which in itself is very risky because you're throwing a goalkeeper in for a game that had quite a few minutes of stoppage time in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. But then it's like, oh, it's good. He's good in penalties. Yeah, maybe he is. Not good at taking penalties as he crashed his effort off the bar. And then Dane St. Clair had scored before that to put the Loons 10-9 ahead, and that was it.
It was one of the things that I felt weird about this shootout was I think it was the very first shot from Minnesota. They put to the keeper's left, and he gets up, and he's in significant discomfort. Like, it looks like
Oh,
something's
yes.
wrong with his
It's
arm,
like his groin had gone or
his
something,
shoulder.
yeah.
And then the next, I think, two or three shooters say, "No, I'm going to shoot to the opposite corner."
Yeah.
And I think the next two was, and they both get stopped. And I was like yelling at my like TV. I was like, what are you doing? Like even if you're like, okay, even if the scouting is like he's really good going to his left, he's just jarred something or pulled something or done something to that side. Like from my observation, he wasn't play acting. He wasn't like
No.
baiting them into going to that
He looked in
side.
a lot of pain
Yeah, it was like
because I'm like, oh no, who's going to go and goal here?
if I was the coach, I'd be like, hey, I'd get a message like, hey, shoot to that side, like
Yeah.
make him go to that side, make this like because they can't sub him, they can't bring on Fry.
No.
I don't
But
know if they
like,
can
but
bring in
this is
another
like
player.
some of the stuff. I was saying this during my commentary this week. One of the keepers took a really bad challenge going for the ball and was down for ages and then got up and she was really shaky. And I'm like, it's not a nice thing to say, but you want to fire shots in at her.
Oh
And
yeah,
then they didn't. And it's like, this is the time to just pepper shots in there and see has she recovered or what. And it's really annoying when teams don't take advantage of that.
yeah.
It was an amazing shootout. There was another one that I saw as well in the bronze semi-final that went all the way to penalties. And then, unfortunately, Vancouver Island Mariners lost that one. It went down to the goalkeepers as well. And one scored, one just got so much on it and just crashed it off the bar, and it was heartbreaking.
I feel with Dane Sinclair, I feel for some reason I might be wrong. He's not as good as Crépeau in general on penalties. I feel like Crépeau has been good on facing penalties in a game and in an actual shootout. I think I've seen Dane make some really big penalty saves in games, and obviously in this case he did come up big and make a save or two. I think at least one that I can remember. I think there was multiple, like two or three he got a hand to that where I thought we're not going to find the back of the net, but did. But I still personally would want Crepe.
I know, but I've seen a lot of folk this week saying, and I get this, and I'm with this now, I think as well. Why is there even a discussion right now? You've got the goalkeeper of the year that is playing and
Yep.
contributing, but yet you're still having a number one battle with a guy that can't even win the starting spot in his own team. And I
Again,
know we've talked about that this can change next year and everything like that, but right now, I don't even think this should be a discussion. This should
that's fair.
be clear.
All I'll say in a similar way to what I've said in the past is I think there's extenuating circumstances that have led to Max not getting the playing time he would hope for. And again, I think that's something that will change in these coming months. And
I mean, it has to for him.
yeah, for him, I think he has to do all he can to make a change.
And whether that's in Portland, because there might be new coaching down there, but I guess we'll have to wait and see about that, or elsewhere, which I would imagine it's elsewhere.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because also, like if you're James Pantemis, you've earned that starting spot. And if you then get that taken away from you, if I'm James, I'm like, well, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
But then another question I've seen asked is, well, if Pantemis is starting over Crépeau, Why is he not even in the Canadian mix? And that's a very valid question as well.
Well, didn't they just bring in another young
Well, they
was it
brought in Owen Goodman,
Goodman, right? Yeah.
Huddersfield Town, who's had time with AFC Wimbledon as well in the past.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I know that they're looking at these guys and they're wanting the dual nationals and they're wanting them to commit and everything like that. But I mean, I think if you're still bringing Crepeau in, and I know it's because of what he has done in the past, Pantemis is worth a look.
I will say, in the times I've watched Portland, Pantemis has been solid, but again, I'm not yet convinced that he's like a national team number one.
No, I mean, he has made mistakes. And like even in the first minute of the game tonight, he dropped the ball
Yeah.
and but recovered it. And I mean, they were blown out the water tonight. That there's not really too much about that. Well, I mean, we'll get to that game now. So like, Middle Cascadia is now out. Their season's done. Lower Cascadia were hoping to continue, and from a Whitecaps point of view, we were hoping they were going to continue because if
Yeah.
they knocked out San Diego, the Whitecaps are now the top seeds in the West. Wasn't to be, and as we touched upon at the start of all of this, that was a clinic that was put on by San Diego. What a difference at
Yeah.
home.
It was crazy. They just ran riot.
Yeah, they
There
were so
was
good, and it was game over really early.
yeah, and what's his name? Mascara, the right back who didn't start this game,
Ha,
but then came in, did something that I think a lot of people have wanted to do over the years,
hmm,
which
yeah,
is strike Chucky Lozano for his
but in the throat,
well, I think yeah.
or just below the throat, but.
I think yeah. He just hit him with his arm and it went up into his throat.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
Chucky
that's all. It just went up into his
No, but I
throat.
think Chucky Lozano is the guy who's driven opponents and their fans like
Oh
crazy.
yeah. But you
Or
can't react
for
like
some of
that. I
his
know I
magic.
know it's frustration. You're 4 goals down by that point.
Yeah.
But I mean it's just stupid.
Yeah.
It was interesting in this game though that Neville was sending a message to his team with his subs.
Yeah.
Taking off your DP, taking off one of your best players for the season, bringing on young guys, and that's a message.
Velda, who was on fire in the
Yeah, I mean,
whole,
you are like
he,
waxing lyrical about him in the show and your article.
he looked night and day. Like
Yeah.
night and day. And again, I'm not saying this has anything to do with it, but at first I was like, where is he? Like I know he's playing, but where because I think both him and Kelsey dyed their hair between the two matches. They both dyed their hair blonde.
It seems to be the trend. We've got Bilal Halbouni and Tristan Blackman here doing it. So we can't tell the two of them apart.
Well, what's it? Hal Booney. That's not blonde. What is it? It's almost like that, like silver
Wait,
white.
it's blonde. When you see it up close, it's yellowy.
Oh, okay. Well,
Because when Tristan had it done, I was like, oh, new hair. He's like, no, old hair, just come back.
when I
He has
first
been
saw
blonde before.
when I first saw him in the stadium, I thought from a distance, I thought, has he shaved his head? Like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
Oh no, he's just colored it an interesting color.
Hmm. Hey, it'll be good when they're side by side in the next game.
There you go.
But San Diego, 2 goals from Dreyer, 2 goals from Pellegrino.
Yeah.
They will now take on Minnesota.
Well, Pellegrino, I think it was his second goal also. I like how
Oh, I haven't actually seen his second goal because it was 3-0. And then I looked up and I saw the sending off because by this point I'd kind of muted it a bit. And I was like, oh, sending off. It's like, it's 4?
yeah. I think it was his second goal. He scores at the same time like Kamal Miller stands him up. So he scores and Kamal Miller just like runs right into him.
Oh,
And he's like winded after.
that's good. Hurt them ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah.
So that semi final is going on Monday, November 24th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. 2 days after the Whitecaps host LAFC. So
Mm.
whoever gets through the Whitecaps LAFC game gets 2 days more rest than whoever gets through that second semi-final.
So
That is not right.
is that a stadium availability thing or is that
I mean, it
is that
must
a
be
is that
something.
an Apple spreading out games thing, or like what is that's weird.
I don't know, but I mean, obviously it can favour the Whitecaps here. But even me as a staunch Whitecaps fan here is saying that's not right. That's not a good look.
No, it's not at all.
No.
I think the other thing that's interesting about the how things have shaken down with all these games is, like you said, one of the Whitecaps opponents is going to eliminate the other in the Cincinnati Miami game. Whitecaps fans will be hoping that Man City Light can upset Philadelphia. But of all these games, the one I think that the most likely is for Minnesota to knock off San Diego and to give the Whitecaps at least the home seed or the home field advantage in the conference final. I think that's the one that seems most likely or probable or possible. Would you agree?
No, yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of wishful thinking in me for that as well,
Oh, of
but
course.
Minnesota's gone to San Diego, were dominated, and then just hitting the counter-attack and came away with the win.
Hmm.
And I'm just having a look here at Snapdragon Stadium to see if there is a clash on the Saturday, the 22nd.
Pigskin, right?
Yeah, San Diego State Aztecs have a game.
So, I mean, this is something we'll come to later in the show. Stadium availability
Yes.
is a frustrating thing.
Yeah, and it's not just in Vancouver, as somebody seems to feel. Wow. I mean, that this is interesting, having this gap. We'll just finish just quick chat about LAFC Whitecaps, not about the game. We'll more preview that next week. Hope to get a couple of fun interviews in the next show, just in the build up to that game. Since we've got 2 weeks now to wait, with 3 weeks in total to wait, and it does feel there's been all this anticipation, and now we're just waiting for it to come. And I hope it's not a big anticlimax, because it does look like it's going to be an absolutely sold out BC Place. Ticket sales are over 50,000. There was none available at all on Friday. More were opened up. It is a reduced capacity because they're doing work in certain areas, but it looks like we could be looking at 54, 55,000 sellout, which is absolutely phenomenal. The
Great.
unfortunate thing is that the ticket touts are having a field day with it and have snapped up tickets, and tickets are already on sale for stupid amounts. But what an occasion it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Kudos to the Whitecaps for getting on that quickly. And obviously, there's the Sun factor, the Thomas factor.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great occasion at
You've
BC.
got your ticket already?
Yeah, I think we'll find our way into the stadium for that one to watch Thomas. I think do we know, have they done the referee assignments yet?
I believe it is Tim Ford,
Is it?
but in a mask. Whoever it's going to be at the end of the game is going to rip it off and go, "Ha! It was me all along." Did you see the rumor this week that apparently Mark DeSantos
Yes, I did.
is the front runner to take over from Chirundolo?
So stoked. That would be so great for him.
Pleased for him.
Yeah.
Feel it's a ballsy move considering what happened here. But a lot of what happened here was, you look at the terrible recruitment. I don't know how much of that is on Mark and how much is on other factors at the club, but it was not a good squad that he had, and the football wasn't great to watch. But he's had a couple of years learning down there. He knows the team, he knows the players. Yeah, he deserves another opportunity. I didn't think he was going to get it at LAFC, I have to say. I thought he might be in the mix for some of the other jobs. Vanny was a front runner, I want to say at New England.
Top three or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. I saw his name come in. He said, oh,
Yeah.
he was top. He
And
was,
you have to feel he'll maybe be in the mix in somewhere like Colorado. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what else. I mean, you're probably going to talk about this in the last part with James Cameron.
yeah, I am.
Yeah, we'll save that to the last part. But what I will say is New York Red Bulls 2 head coach Michael Bradley, I wonder if he's going to be a front runner to take over the main New York team.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And if he does, he has an outstanding kit man.
Yes. And I think he might have earned the chance to do that as well. But again, that would be a big, brave move as well for one of the big clubs in the league. So I don't know. We'll see how all that goes. But that's it for the MLS on pitch action. We're going to turn our attention now to off pitch things, stadiums, the future of the Whitecaps. And for our 700th episode, we wanted to have some kind of special interviews on the show. I'll be honest, we tried to get Thomas Muller for the show. Hasn't come off. He's not doing a lot of local media as of now.
And
Apart from, he's doing the press conferences and training, but he's not doing the one-on-ones.
they had like 4 or 5 days off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will hopefully get Thomas on the show at some point down the line. But we thought that'd be nice to get him on the 700th episode. Couldn't get him. We'd hoped to get Jeff Mallett. We couldn't get him either. But again, it would be nice to have an owner on the show to talk about various things.
What about Greg Kerfoot? How did that request go?
I stopped a man I thought was Greg Kerfoot. Turned out it wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
So he said he'd come on the show though. So I mean that was nice of him.
Oh.
But
Like the stranger or
stranger,
Kerfoot?
yeah.
Oh, the stranger.
Yeah. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of the show. I'll come on. I can pretend I'm Greg if you want." I was like, "Hey, let's do it." But then we thought better of it.
Yeah.
So we do have a good guest as such. It's not a one-on-one. It is MLS Commissioner Greg Kerfoot. But for the 700th episode, for the next 2 parts, it's all going to be about the future of Vancouver Whitecaps. Is it looking rosy? I still think it is. But some very interesting chats from Don Garber at this week's Media Roundtable, and we will bring you that in full after this episode's song from our album of the month.
Hi, I'm Jesper Sorensen, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's this episode's song from our album of the month. And for November, we've gone all the way back to June 1985 and the debut album from Redland, California band Camper Van Beethoven. The album is Telephone Free Landslide Victory. And that is probably my favourite track on it. Not their most well-known track on it, but I think it was actually the first song I heard from them. I might have heard Take the Skinheads Bowling first, but I do definitely remember listening to the radio one night in a show that I used to listen to on Radio 4th, and they did play this song. That was Camper Van Beethoven, The Day That Lassie Went to the Moon. We'll be back with another song from Telephone Free Landslide Victory in next week's show, but we're going to get back to the football chat now, and we're going to bring you something special for our 700th episode. Now, many of you will know from stuff that you've read online, on social media, some articles, that MLS Commissioner Don Garber was up in Vancouver on Friday to meet with Vancouver business leaders, the Premier, the Mayor of Vancouver, to talk about and to advocate for the Whitecaps' new stadium. As part of that, he also agreed to have a media roundtable, which obviously I'm gutted that I wasn't able to get to because I was out in Red Deer. But I want to give a big thanks to Gemma from Canadian Press for recording it for me, send me along the audio and asking one of the questions that I had to put to him as well. So we're going to bring you the roundtable in full, and it's one of those kind of roundtables where it's not professionally recorded, so the sound quality is not great. You can definitely hear it, but it's not obviously at the same levels as most of our normal interviews and just our general chat and stuff like that. But there is a lot of good stuff in it, and I feel we just needed to bring it to you in full. So we're going to do that in this part. We'll bring you the whole Don Garber round table, and then Zach and me will unpack some of the most pertinent things that were covered in it. And there's a lot to unpack, I tell you that. So go stick the kettle on, grab your biscuit of choice, and enjoy a round table with the Don.
He and I have traveled the world together, building this sport, both in this country from the very beginning. When Vic was at the CSA, he was the vice president there before he was the president. And then when he became elected the head of CONCACAF, we at the league and our marketing company have been very close partners with Vic. Very importantly, the league has been very involved beyond what we do with now our 30 teams in helping to raise the profile of the sport overall in this part of the world, both as it relates to the CONCACAF Gold Cup, the Champions Cup, working together on Copa America. Basically, we think of ourselves as one of the drivers of the success of the sport throughout North America, and that's bigger than just a team. It's really a mission. We've always believed from the very beginning that this part of the world has everything that it takes to be powerful in the world of global football. And we're committed at all levels to try to drive that success. And it segues right into our belief in this market. When we were originally talking about expanding MLS, Jeff Mallon and I met. I remember that like it was yesterday in a conference that I was at in Arizona, and talked about how do we capitalize on the great legacy that the Whitecaps had here for many years before Major League Soccer was in place, and take advantage of this incredible diversity and the cultural connection and heritage that this city has in the sport. And I remember when we were chatting, it sort of felt to me like we were talking about Milan, or we were talking about Rio, or we were talking about Madrid. And it was everything that we wanted. We wanted to have a city that really got the game, and then we can bring our league and everything that we dreamed for and have it sort of delivered through these great cities like Vancouver and many of the other cities we have here in Canada to grow our league. And the city and its fans have done their part. The owner of the club for many, many years has done their part. Certainly over the last season, it's good, convenient timing, that doesn't always happen. The players have done their part. What's going on here and the excitement in the city driven by this club, which is really performing at such a high level, not just with what they're doing with wins and losses, but bringing in a world-class player who nobody expected. I didn't expect that Thomas Mueller would come in. We talked to him about a lot of different markets, would come in and not only be embraced by the city, but embrace the city itself. And when we look at all of that, we've got to take a step back and say, well, why isn't really it working from an economic viability perspective? And the challenge that we have is a challenge that sports teams have throughout all the other major leagues, and a challenge that sports teams have had in other cities across North America. We have a suboptimal stadium situation, and we're trying to fix that. And there's a short-term fix that's very specific. We want a better lease at BC Place, and the club has made a very specific request about that. It's not the people who run BC Place's fault. Their job is to run that building the way they're charged to run it. But those restrictions and those challenges make it untenable for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Economically, they don't participate in any revenue. You all in the sports business, you know that doesn't work. When we make our schedule, we have to make our schedule around the dates that were given by BC Place. And that's untenable when you have 29 other teams. It is unconscionable that we have to move a playoff game because we can't get a date because there's a tractor pull or there's something that, in my view, isn't delivering the kind of community value or economic value that the Whitecaps deliver on an annual basis. So as we've been working on this project for some time, we've come to the conclusion that the existing situation in BC Place is not working. And we hope that we can solve that. And frankly, I'm an optimist. I couldn't be in the soccer business for nearly 30 years. I'm hopeful we'll be able to achieve that. And that'll solve a short-term issue that at least allows the ownership and the league to take a step back and say, okay, we can put our feet on the ground now in a more tenable situation. Now what do we need to do to figure out how to solve the long term, which is what we've solved in almost every single market over the last 20 years, and that's a soccer-specific stadium. This city and its fans deserve a soccer-specific stadium. Shouldn't be lost on anybody that the World Cup is going to be here. There are a lot of big cities in the United States, and there are other big cities in Canada that don't have the World Cup. Mostly because of Victor, but also because it's a soccer town and it's a beautiful city with tons of people that care about our sport. We know they care about our league, and we love to figure out a situation in a very busy, crowded market with lots of challenges that we all are aware of. How do we work on a soccer-specific stadium solution that could make sense? We've been talking about the PNC, and you all have reported about that. We had a great meeting with the mayor earlier today. We're going to meet with the premier later today. I'm optimistic that if we can get everybody in a room, because we solved this Rubik's Cube many times in as difficult cities to be able to achieve urban soccer-specific stadium solutions, we ought to be able to achieve it. So I'm here on a mission to try to figure out ways that we can capitalize on all the success of this club and take that opportunity and turn it into something that will work in a more economically rational way. I've been to this city many times. Somebody said in a meeting we had earlier that I haven't come to Vancouver much. I've come to a lot of games. I've been here many, many times over the last number of years. I love what this club has done, and I think if we could get a bunch of dots connected and get a flywheel of support, we ought to be able to achieve a greater level of success. So that's the opening.
We'll open up to questions. All three of the gentlemen. Victor,
no, go ahead.
Comments?
After that, that's the opening and closing, so you can go to questions.
Jameen Mackin from Business in Vancouver newspaper. When you mentioned a soccer-specific stadium, have there been any concrete steps to pursue that at this time?
Well, there have been, and they have not yet led to conclusion kind of why we're here. But I want to put that into the context of that doesn't discourage me. We broke ground in New York City after 10-year journey that'll open up in 27. We were looking at a soccer-specific stadium in Miami that would be world-class. That took many years. We will play in that starting in March. And the Chicago Fire have been bouncing around Chicago for many years. We'll play in a soccer stadium in downtown Chicago in 2028. The owner of the club has had land that he's looked at, and I'll let somebody else describe that better than I can because I don't know if the actual location has been public. He's been working on that and was part of the pitch when they came into league in 2011. The P&E site, I visited that. When was that, Axel? A couple of months ago?
When we had the home game against Miami.
Yeah. So they've been talking and going back and forth on MOUs on the P&E site. The MOU they're looking at now is not an MOU that would make sense for anybody. The league is party to leases. It's a unique structure of MLS. So we have an opportunity, and we don't have a tenable deal on that opportunity, but there's an opportunity.
And my understanding is that the lease expires at the end of December. In the short term, are we looking at a renewal of that?
We're looking at a renewal on terms that I won't approve. So we do not have a lease for next year. And that's reckless on my part. It showed my optimism that we'll get something done. We're not there yet.
Is there any, I don't normally cover sports, but is there a possibility that Whitecaps could move cities if this is the result?
There is a possibility. That's not the path we want to be on. It's part of what I'm here for, trying to get a better understanding as to where are we really? You know, where is the club in its journey to try to move from being successful on the field and having community connections and in revenue at the bottom of our 30 teams and in attendance at the top between 50 and 25%. They're not in the top quartile, but they're way above half. And that's because of the dynamic that we have with the stadium. And I want to be very clear because I met with the general manager yesterday. This is not their fault. Right? This just requires a different vision and a different way to go about thinking about what a path forward can be. And I view that optimistically. You know, we've got to ask. And we've been asking on a new lease. But what we need is a new dynamic. And I think that new dynamic will be good for the city. I mean, there's not a commercial engine in that building. Why not? I mean, it's not like we're naming it after, you know, a historic figure, right? We just have never, the control of the building's never sold a title sponsor. We'll take that over in a heartbeat. We're good at that. We have to be. We'll take over the commercial operations and sell sponsorships if we're given the opportunity. I think the club would be great at that. So now we're just coming in with a different vision, and I think that new vision could be beneficial for the province that ultimately oversees the building and be successful for the Whitecaps.
Like Bryce from MLS on Apple TV, among other places. But just for clarity, is there a deal with BC Place that would trump the desire or the need for a soccer-specific stadium? Is there a blue sky deal there with BC Place that would say, you know what, we're good here for perpetuity?
By the way, it's a great question, and the answer to that is no. And I think the reason for that is we have to all respect the concept of BC Place. You know, it's got employees that need jobs, and there are aspects of BC Place that we're not looking to change. What we're looking to change is our relationship with the revenue dynamic in that building. And what we're hoping to achieve is let us get a runway and have better economics in the short term so that we can look for the long-term solution, which is a soccer-specific stadium.
Don, what's the deadline you have for a soccer-specific stadium in Vancouver? When do you want to see concrete plans, shovel in the ground, and stadium built?
I don't have that date, and they don't have that date. You know, the dream scenario is a great lease with a great partnership with BC Place and a parallel path for some North Star, if you will, and what that soccer stadium could look like. All of that, to me, is a package, and that's what we're here to talk about. So premature to talk about what the timing of that is, but not premature to talk about that's the vision and the plan.
John Patrick Johnson here from
Vancouver province. You talk about it's not the stadium's fault, so whose fault is it? What are you referring to?
I should have articulated that too. This isn't about anybody's fault, right? It's about reality, right? The stadium is doing their job. Their job is to manage what they're told to manage. And our job is to figure out to have a better dynamic that is more economically rational for the team. So we'll go and have discussions with those that do have the ability to make a decision on changing that dynamic. I think because we're meeting with the Premier later today, it's premature to talk about what we'll speak to them about. I'm sure there'll be lots of media about that, and the club will have to, or the Premier will talk about ultimately what it is that we've asked for. But the folks who are the general manager of the building, their job is to manage the building. Put dates in there. And ultimately, broader powers will look at, how do we have a dynamic in that building that just works better for the Whitecaps? That's what we really care about. And hopefully, we'll be able to convince those who will make that decision that it'll be in their best interest as well.
I mean, it doesn't seem like the incentive is there for them to keep the Whitecaps. They want the dates. So, what's the hang-up?
That's a question for them.
Victor, it works for FIFA. Why doesn't it work for them?
Well, I mean, it's two different animals. But I think, we're just a tournament. We're here next week. Yeah, you can tell I haven't been slept much, right?
I need to say
next year. And then obviously we're not. The Whitecaps have been here for 50 years. Hopefully they'll be here for another 100 years because they're a fabric of our society and the fabric of this city. I've grown up in this city, like a lot of you here. And, I think for those of you that know me, I'll just cut to the chase. I think the game has been really good to this city. The game of football or soccer has been really good to the city. From Callister Park in the 60s to Empire Stadium in the 70s to the opening of BC Place. And the constant of that has been the Vancouver Whitecaps. And without the Whitecaps, there is likely no World Cup here either. Why would we bring the World Cup here with no pro football? And so the game has been really good to this city. And I think it's time that the political will, I think that's where you're getting at, Patrick, the political will of this province and this city matches the goodness of the game. And when I say the goodness of the game, I mean the fans. I mean, quite frankly, the media that covers it. Everything around the game has been really good to the city. And I think it's time that the political will of the city and specifically the province matches the goodness of what this sport has given it. And if that happens, I think the alignment is there, the vision is there, as the commissioner has outlined. I think we can get to where we need to get to ensure that this club remains at the top of where it needs to be, right?
Can I take that also for a second? For teams to be successful, it has to start being embedded in the community. And that's what the Whitecaps have done for decades, again, well before MLS. That requires commitment and capital. So Greg and the Whitecaps have done more in player development than almost any other MLS club. The owner has been a supporter of the CSA in ways that I don't even know that you all are aware of. And if you are, it goes way beyond the Whitecaps. And that's day to day, month to month, year to year. And tournaments come in and it puts magic dust on that. And it brings exposure to all the things that have been happening at the foundation level. And that requires investment. And the owner's been willing to make an investment. What's happening now is that there's no path to any level of economic rationality because player costs go up and delivering the team that he's delivered continues to get more expensive. And there hasn't been the level of financial support here to allow him to go out and be more economically viable. Again, I have done this a long time. We're not asking for gifts. We're asking for the right to earn it. And we want to earn it by maximizing the value in the BC Place, and we want to earn it by having the opportunity potentially to develop a project that will be one of the great showcases for public-private partnership with sports and entertainment and real estate, meaning residential, and if we could achieve that, the Whitecaps will become embedded in the community way beyond what it is that they do on the field each weekend. And the good news is it's happening in other places throughout Major League Soccer. Miami Freedom Park has a stadium in the middle of a massive development, and that development is going to change the landscape of Miami. It took us a long time to get there, but it required massive political will and lots of city council meetings that I had to attend with David Beckham and Jorge Mas, but there was a will. And everybody came together and they said, we believe in what this could be. And by the way, that was before Leo Messi was signed. It was before they had the pink jerseys. We said to them, we're not going to bring Miami a team unless we have a plan for a stadium. That was at a different time in MLS than when we were here, 2011.
Don, the thing is, you're having to negotiate with the provincial government, which means they're accountable to BC taxpayers when it comes to PAVCO and dealing with BC Place on that alone. So I have two questions. That I would assume is one of the particular challenges in dealing with the new lease for BC Place. The second one is the length of the prior lease that, from what I understand, goes back to when the team came into the league in 2011. Is this situation now sort of a consequence of how long the current lease is about to expire? Does that kind of fall into because of all this kind of change over that period of time?
Let me take the first one. Every single deal that we've done from the time I came into MLS was hard. Many of them required public referendums, and by the way, we won every one of them. Every one required give and take and required those who are accountable to the public to decide what their priorities are, and I get that.
I'll add another one. How comparable is this to the great challenge you had trying to get Audi Field built for DC United? Because I remember that, and I remember how upset you were at times.
It was really hard, and it was really hard for the owner of the hockey team and the basketball team to finalize a deal with the district, which he did. And that'll be a fully integrated billion-dollar entertainment complex that's going to be great for the citizens of the district in Washington, D.C. They're all hard, and that doesn't discourage me. I'm in the soccer business. It's always really hard. It's hard to play the game. As it relates to the lease, could you imagine having a dynamic where you're giving dates and our entire league has got to manage that around one team's available dates? The date situation alone is untenable. And when we had 10 teams or 12 teams or 14 teams, it was manageable. It is impossible with 30 teams. Literally impossible. We can't be in a situation where a team like the Whitecaps have to go play a game in Portland. I mean, that is not what we're trying to build in Major League Soccer. So time changes all, and I think smart people with good vision adapt to time. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to adapt that, adapt to the changing environment.
We're just on topics like that. Dive in here. Would that make you have an opinion on whether or not this stadium could be shared with the CFL team? I'm sure the Whitecaps have an opinion on that themselves, but do you have an opinion on it?
I really don't. That has to be a dynamic that really has. All I can do is advocate for the Whitecaps, and I'm sure the Lions will have to advocate for their needs. I understand that the club's got a great relationship with the ownership of the Lions. I have an affinity. Back in the day, I managed the NFL's relationship with the CFL, and many, many years ago, I've gone to no shortage of Grey Cups and opened up an NFL office in Toronto. I'm not looking to do anything that better is good for us and bad for anybody else. But it is part of the dynamic that we have to address.
I don't think it's a problem. I just say our partners in Toronto own both teams and they make it work in one stadium. I think it's a total different question that has to be answered before we sort out how we live together with the BC Lions. And I can tell you from a lot of conversations that I've had with Amar, they're also not super happy about their situation in the stadium. So I think on a lot of those problems that the Commissioner just mentioned, we're even aligned.
Don, I know you mentioned Miami, but are there any other stadium lease deals that would be similar to this, like working with the government, that have been successful? And what does that look like specifically, like in terms of getting revenue from concession sales and things like that?
There isn't one as it relates to a partnership with the government. There have been situations, particularly in the beginning of the league, where we played in NFL stadiums and were able to work out commercial dynamics where we were able to benefit and generate the kind of revenue in a unique lease. This is a unique dynamic. As you probably all know, there are not that many municipally controlled stadiums that have tenants that don't. I don't know of anyone that doesn't have a commercial relationship that is benefiting the team. Partially because throughout North America, stadiums are getting developed, whether they're public-private partnerships or on public land. The tenant is generating the revenue and figuring out the right way to ensure that it makes sense for the public.
And in terms of the soccer-specific stadium, I know there was talk of trying to find a new owner to build that, and potentially the current ownership involved. Is there any update in terms of interest from a new perspective?
Yeah, the challenge we have is that we don't have an economically sustainable business that we can get somebody to invest in. That's the reality of where we are. And rather than say, well, here's our only alternative, our alternative is to go left, which would be a negative alternative, I want to turn that into a positive. How do we make the right decisions and get the right types of partnerships to be able to take this city, which has been a great supporter of the club, and turn it into something that will be more viable for the current owner and even a potential investor partner. That's reality. That's reality.
Don, the Apple TV deal, what improvements or what adjustments would you like to see going forward next year? Because people have varying opinions on how that's going.
I think it's recognized that each of these clubs have almost half of their games on linear television. That's not the case down in the States. All those games are exclusively on Apple or simulcast with once a week with either Fox or with Leagues Cup Univision. So we recognize the unique dynamic in Canada. All that being said, it speaks to the way we think. We're looking at making changes to the Apple relationship. I think those changes will be positive for all of our fans, be positive for Apple, be positive for MLS. I just ask you to hold a bit, just getting through our playoffs and MLS Cup, and wait for what kind of changes we'll announce, and I think everybody will be pleased with what those changes are.
Not about the stadium. Where are you at on looking at aligning the MLS schedule with more of the leagues in Europe? And where does Leagues Cup fall into all of that?
Well, we're driving tours on many, many different levels, aligning with the rest of the world. If our goal is to be one of the top leagues in the world, we can't be the only league that doesn't have the same calendar for transfer purposes, for prioritizing our most important games. And we have work still to do, but our goal is to do what we can to try to adapt to the international calendar. The impact on the cold weather teams is minimal because we're already playing games in December and we're already starting in February, and I think, again, that's lost in some of the narrative. I think it helps when you think about you're hopefully going to get a better dynamic in BC Place. So let's see how all that plays out, but I am a big advocate for all the things we can do to be more aligned and be thought of as one of the top leagues in the world.
You mentioned the PNE. Is that the most likely soccer-specific site for a stadium? And what are some other areas that might be?
Well, it's the one that we have the most current discussions on. So if anything should come up, you have a cousin that's got a good spot that might be a great spot for a soccer stadium, for all ears. But right now, that for a soccer-specific stadium, that's the one that we have been at least discussing. And we think that it could be really interesting for what we're trying to achieve, which is year-round support in and around multi-use entertainment environments and land that basically has not been utilized in that regard. We see how that works with what they're doing with the Battery in Atlanta. We're going to see what that's going to do in MLS with Miami Freedom Park. these are great things for the community, driving more tax revenue, driving more energy, spreading out and getting people to have different places to go have lunch or dinner and take their kids for new experiences. So I'm excited about it. We are on a journey, and it ain't going to be easy. But, it's certainly interesting to me. I heard a lot more about it over the last 24 hours.
Last question. Following on from that, so I'll be positive. Let's say we see a soccer stadium come here, which I'm sure most of us would say we'd like to see. The thing is that it's been an interesting journey of buildings and soccer-specific stadiums built to this point of different generations. And I was wondering, Don, when you think of how Salt Lake was built and Sporting Kansas City, to then the more recent ones like Austin, St. Louis, the renderings, how they, and how that's evolved in Nashville's as well, and what's being built already. What can you sort of speak to that as a league in terms of that kind of progression, and is that sort of refined what you're really looking for when newer ones are being built?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm going to go back to sports teams are only successful when they're delivering on the entertainment value that fans require to get out of their homes and see an event live, and give them a way to celebrate and deliver on their hopes and dreams and what they want to see on the field. And that's evolved over time, throughout North American sports. And it certainly has evolved from our first stadium in 1998 in Columbus that's not now used for their MLS Next Pro team, and it's the training ground for the club.
Don, I forgot Cincinnati.
So now as you evolve the fan experience, fans expect more, we need to deliver more, and we believe that kind of shared experience is going to create a lifelong fan. And that's why those stadiums become more and more expensive to deliver on technology and deliver on all the other things that make it memorable. And now let's take that to BC Place. And you've all been there many more times than I have. That's not why it was built. That's not what it's delivering now. And are there ways that someone who is focused on delivering that kind of experience could use their expertise and could use their capital to try to figure out a way that we have something that people will go to a game and say, I can't wait to support the team. Maybe I want to play. Maybe I'm somebody that's coming from one of the different communities here in town and want to become somebody that plays for the Whitecaps Academy. Maybe it could become something that their women's expert team can engage in. And all of that just lifts up the water level. And we've seen that journey drive MLS's success. And why would anybody not want that?
Would you say that Austin and St. Louis, those stadiums, are very high watermark, like a high mark in regards to what you've seen so far? I'm not wanting to put down even that.
But they are. Austin's done an absolutely unbelievable job. St. Louis is part of the redevelopment and reimagination of an entire city. Coming out of real challenges, that owner worked with the city and was able to get a project together. We had to move a highway. We had to move a federal highway. They had the will to do that. And now look what we have. Our highest average ticket revenue in Major League Soccer is in St. Louis. It is among our smallest markets. And when you compare their average ticket price to the Whitecaps, we're talking about 5x. And and fans are on a waiting list. And by the way, the Whitecaps are pretty successful on the field. I think in today's North American sports market, fans will pay for an experience that is memorable. And we're not able to deliver that today. And this BC Place is a short-term fix to that.
We are the league with the extra man. We are the league, we are the anti-man. And don't you say you've been here for the league are here. And we have scored, we are the league. We are the league.
Don Garber and his Vancouver Media Roundtable from Friday afternoon. A lot of stadium talk, a lot of chat about the future of the Whitecaps in it and how the two of them are kind of intertwined. So Zach and me will be back in the next part and packing a lot of what he said there. So join us for that after the first of two Britpop songs this episode.
Hey, I am Axel Schuster, and I'm listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
This is the next century where the universal's free. You can find it anywhere. Yes, the future's been sold. Every night we're gone. And some karaoke songs. How we like to sing along, though the words are wrong. It really, really, really could happen. Yes, it really, really, really could happen. When the days that seem to fall through you will just let them go.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part is the first of two Britpop songs in this episode. A band we've featured many times in this segment this year and last year. One of the iconic bands of the Britpop era, Blur. And that was the second single taken from their fourth studio album, The Great Escape. It was released on September 11th, 1995, that album, and that single came out November 13th, 1995, 30 years ago this week, charting the following week in the UK charts and peaking at number 5. The song is The Universal. For me, joint best song on that album, along with This Charmless Man, which is a song that I had as my ringtone on my landline in the UK.
Oh.
Weird to have a song called This Charmless Man. People that know me would understand why. But I just like there's a bit in that song that goes, la 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 la. And then I would go, hi, la 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 la. You've got through to Michael. La 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 la. I'm not available at the moment. So it was a long message on my answering phone. Different times back then. Landlines. Who still has landlines today, Zach?
Not I.
I do.
You?
I do, actually. I had it because it was cheaper to call back to Scotland. And then I've just never got rid of it after my parents passed away. So at some point I will get rid of it. But yes, I do still have a landline.
Wow.
But that song, The Universal, the video for it is tremendous. It's a pastiche of Clockwork Orange. Are you familiar with the film or the book Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been a while since. I don't know if I read the book or I've seen the movie.
I've read the book. It's a tough read because of the language that it's written in. It's like a special language that Anthony Burgess wrote, mixing anglicised Russian and kind of English Cockney rhyming slang. The film is brilliant. I haven't watched it for so many years now. It was banned in the UK. So my very first trip over to the US, as you do, went to the video store and bought a copy in the US because it was in Canada that I bought it. It would have been when I was in Toronto. And then when I got back home, me and my mates came round, we got a takeout, and we watched the film for the first time. Great film. So the video for The Universal was like sit down in the milk bar with Blur dressed up as droogs and everything. And of course, we all love a bit of the old ultra violence, especially in March when it's football violence.
That's who the Juventus Ultras are named after, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
And they use that imagery.
Yeah, it's striking imagery. It's like I love it. It's a good movie. If you've never seen it, I recommend checking it out. You're not here for the music chat. I wish you were, but we're going to get back to the football chat now. We're gonna unpack the dawn. That's my best Godfather impersonation. Because we heard from Don Garber in the last part, and not just Don, a little bit from Axel Schuster, and a little bit from FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani, who clearly did not want to answer any questions really or talk to media. Very short answers, just deflected everything. Not even really sure why he was there. But yeah, him and Don seem to go back a long way, Zach.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been involved in the game for forever, right? Or it seems like forever.
Yeah. Well, Don basically said without Victor,
Yes.
World Cup would not be coming to Vancouver, and I 100% believe that.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that is for sure, right? Because remember, Vancouver got taken off the short list or whatever for teams, and for a few years there, we were incredibly distraught over that.
But he also said without the Whitecaps, the World Cup probably wouldn't be coming to Vancouver. And again, that kind of makes sense as well. You need to be in a football city.
So how did Toronto get it?
Hey, listen, I know you're a closet TFC fan. Or you've got a TFC jersey in your closet. It's one of those two things. You do.
Oh, it's so funny.
Do you not lie?
Yeah, Srđan Đukanović.
Yes. Traitor.
Match worn, I think autographed.
What was it from the game that he threw?
No, that was.
that was when he was with Montreal. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have a Montreal one. I have a USL Whitecaps Srđan Đukanović number. The TFC I think is number 18. I think the Whitecaps is number 77 or something crazy.
Oh no, I think you're right. That rings a bell. As Quasimodo once.
He's been at matches lately. I've seen him with his kids, and yeah.
I kind of still don't forgive him for the Montreal screw job, to use our wrestling parlance. But Don Garber, we heard him in the last part from the media roundtable that he had on Friday. Not able to be at it, as I mentioned, and thanks again to Gemma from the Canadian Press for sending along the audio and asking one of my questions as well. So Don Garber was bigging up Vancouver as a soccer city. He said when MLS started, they wanted to be in cities like Milan, Rio, Madrid. Couldn't find any of them in America or Canada. But he said Vancouver felt like one of those cities. Now, even I feel that's a stretch.
Right, but you understand what he's getting at.
No,
right?
I do.
You understand what he's saying. I mean,
he wants, like, Vancouver, big immigrant population, big Italian population as well that love the game, other nationalities like the UK and stuff as well, and they live and breathe it, but it has a soccer history.
Oh, yeah, and that's what, I mean, when you go back to the 70s,
go back to the 60s even with the Royals.
Totally.
And even before that, all the local stuff that was played and I've seen the pictures of the crowds packing out all the different stadiums in the 40s and the 50s.
And then even at the time, like the USL Whitecaps were like gave the city its local professional football club, right? Like it carried that on and carried that forward, and they were successful and well loved and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it definitely had this this feel of like Don Garber himself, MLS as a league were like putting on the high press to the city of Vancouver, to the mayor, the
BC government,
the premier,
the PAVCO.
Yeah, all these people about how significant things around the stadium situation for Vancouver are, how serious this is for the longevity of the club itself. And really interesting to see him come and
I mean, he basically came to bat for Vancouver, and that's actually wonderful to see and have that support.
Oh yeah.
And like I tip my hat to him. Everything that he said was tremendous from a Whitecaps, from a Vancouver point of view. I know I started off making little jokes there, but it was a very serious subject. And there was a lot of serious conversations in that round table. He feels Vancouver especially this season on the pitch, are a big success story.
Absolutely.
And off it, the owners, he spoke about all the money that Greg Kerfoot has put in to Vancouver soccer, to Canadian soccer, the women's game in Canada. And we know that that's true. And we as football fans know that that's true. I don't know how much of the casual fan base do, or the general kind of soccer population. But without Greg Kerfoot, I know he gets criticised as not being the public face and that no one gets to see him. Who cares about that? He's put his own personal money into making Vancouver a soccer city, having a football team, having an MLS team, having an academy, having supported the national team, men and women. And a lot of that, he's tried to do everything right. He's tried to build a stadium with his own money on his own land, and he's just hit brick wall after brick wall after brick wall, time and time again. And he hasn't walked away, which he very easily could. And then maybe it has taken the threat off, well, I'm selling up, maybe we'll lose the team, for things to finally start to move forward here.
Yeah, I mean, just to briefly comment what you said, I don't think you can say who cares about his lack of public, engagement. What I will say is that's his prerogative, right?
Yeah.
That's how he wants to.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it would be great if he was if we could sit and talk to him, and Jeff Mallett's the face that people do get to speak to, and
yeah.
And
I think that's been an improvement, the way that they've tried to have Mallett kind of play that role. But yeah, I mean, whatever your take is on Kerfoot and his involvement with the Whitecaps and football in the community, you can't say that he hasn't invested and hasn't kept the sport alive when he first joined and helped it thrive. I mean, there's other conversations we've had in the past about how they've done that, but even now, I think one of the conversations we've had this year is how the ownership finally seems potentially willing to adapt some of their approaches to further their own growth, to further their own progression as a club, both in the community, off the pitch, and more so, most importantly, on the pitch, by the Thomas Müller acquisition in and of itself. So, yeah, yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of talk about community.
Yes.
In Garber's thing as well. I mean, he was also talking up, aside from the owners, the fans and the players' performance this year. And then asked the question, if everything is so successful, why isn't it working for the Whitecaps from an economic perspective?
Yeah.
And right from the start, cards were on the table, and he said it's because there's a suboptimal stadium situation. And we've known little bits about this, and it's just been more recently, like when Axel had his roundtable a couple of weeks ago that we brought you, and he spoke openly about how they're in the top 10 in terms of crowds and attendance and all this, but they're in the bottom end of it when it comes to what they're making from that on game day.
Yeah.
They get nothing from the concessions. They're going to be paying a lease.
Garber said it's nothing. Is it really nothing? I just thought the threshold was so high that it's actually hard for them to make money. Do we know, is it actually zero?
Axel said they get nothing from the concessions.
Okay.
So,
which is crazy.
If I'm wrong or I've picked that up, I'm sure the Whitecaps will correct it, and we'll correct it on another show. But
I think either way, it's crazy.
Yeah. I kind of get it, though, and Garber does as well. And I'll preface what we're going to say by saying BC Place and the people that run BC Place, and Don Garber did allude to this,
yes,
their job is to run BC Place at a profit for the stadium to make money, and they just keep their jobs if they do that. And if they're running at a loss or they're not bringing in events and they're not bringing money in, they're not going to have their job. So they're doing their job.
Yeah.
And you can't criticise them for that. But it's obviously not suitable for the Whitecaps and the Lions as well, has to be said as well in this. So Garber said that there is a short-term fix that's very specific He said, we want a better lease at BC Place, and the club have made a very specific request about that. Now, he wouldn't expand on what that is, understandably, but he spoke about the restrictions and the current deal, and he says it makes it untenable for the Whitecaps, for the league, and that the league is basically being held hostage by BC Place when it comes to setting the schedule, because there's only a certain number of dates that they'll be given, and then they have to work everything else around that. So he said 29 clubs have to work around one club, and that isn't acceptable. And it isn't. I mean, if it was another team, I would say the same thing. It's like, it's not right. And just because it's my team, I'm still saying it's not right. The Whitecaps and BC Place shouldn't have such a big say in how the schedule works out. And it's for those reasons that you have 5-game stretches where the Whitecaps are on the road. We've had a 7-game stretch once where they were on the road. That's not good for the club, because you're killing momentum. You're not bringing any money in, and fans lose interest.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the previous part of how unideal it is for San Diego to have to play a game on a Monday, meaning the opponent of the winner of that game has a 2-day advantage or a head start in terms of the preparations for it. And yeah, I mean, Garber alluded to the game, playoff game having to be moved to Portland.
Yeah, I mean, that
crazy, absolutely crazy.
It was farcical. There was the Champions Cup game as well that got moved to Langford, but to move a playoff game, your whole season's on the line as well, because it's the wild card game, and it worked out great. I had a nice trip down to Cannon Beach, and everything was a wonderful time. But yeah, obviously not ideal. It was that trip that I bought my formerly known as lucky hat. FKA. So Garber doesn't blame BC Place, as we mentioned, but he says they need to change the deal. He spoke about how it was unacceptable for moving that playoff game, and said that the events held at BC Place don't have the same community value or economic value as the Whitecaps deliver on an annual basis. Whilst I do agree a little bit, I think that's very dismissive of things like the rugby sevens that come. The people that go to that love it. They spend money. It's a great weekend. The local businesses benefit. The hotels benefit. But that's once a year for one weekend. So I get what he's saying. Over the year, the Whitecaps bring more than these individual events. But something like Taylor Swift coming last year, and I know that's a kind of one-off thing that you're not going to get every year, something as mega as that, but that would have brought more than the Whitecaps brought for the whole year, and that was just for a couple of dates. But it's like, how do you balance it up? Because not everyone in the city is a soccer fan. Not everyone in the city that is a soccer fan likes the Whitecaps. You're in danger of alienating other communities by kind of being so dismissive of what they can bring. But I do get what he's getting at. And he's not there to care about that. He's there to fight for his club and his corner.
Yeah. Can I ask you one question in this section we haven't you and I haven't even talked about? How does, because I'm sure there's at least a segment of our listenership that is also having these same kind of questions in the back of their head. How is, and maybe I'm forgetting the answer to this. Maybe there's a very simple answer to this. How is this reconciled? How is Garber's perspective on this that he's sharing? How is that reconciled with the portrayal in the past that the Whitecaps deal with BC Place is like a sweetheart deal? Is it that the rent is very low, but the benefits in terms of concession and that kind of stuff is not great?
Yeah. So my understanding, and again, I'm sure Nathan will let us know if I've got this totally out of whack.
And sorry, you can't see, but when I say sweetheart deal, I'm using that in quotations.
Oh,
This
no,
is like
yes.
the language.
Yes,
This is like
for those listening.
Yeah. This is like in the language of like a Bob Mackin or other people.
Well, he still refers to it as that. So basically, people like that, it's because the rent is low and the Whitecaps didn't have to contribute to any of the renovations.
Right.
Before they went in 2011 and these renovations for the World Cup. So they've got a low lease and they've had no outlay to make the stadium fit for purpose. So that's why it gets referred to as a sweetheart deal. So it depends what side you're looking at it. So as a business, the Whitecaps have a great deal for somewhere to play, but they're not able to get economic growth.
Or the best dates.
Yeah. For PAF or control, basically.
Yeah. Is that
for PAFCO? They've not got a great lease, but they've got all this other money that they're making from everything else.
Is that similar to like the Lions setup there?
Yes.
The Lions have a similar thing where it's a cheap rent, but they don't get a lot of concession.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest tenants.
Yeah. My other understanding, and again, if I'm wrong, we'll correct us in the future show, but I believe merchandise is higher in the stadium because BC Place take a cut of sales in that as well.
Oh, right. Wow.
So it's little things like that as well. Now, it's not specifically been said what the Whitecaps are looking for in this new deal, but we can be pretty sure that it's a share of concessions revenue. I've seen the figure 20% thrown around. I don't know where that's even come from. But aside from that, they want not just better date availability, but they want kind of control of dates a bit more before they sign a new short-term lease. Now, the flip side of that is what's in that for BC Place? Because you could argue that they kind of hold all the cards here. Because if the Whitecaps play hardball and say, well, we're not going to sign a new lease, and they'll be like, okay, where do you play next year then?
Yeah.
So that's the interesting one. And Garber came out and said that right now, the biggest thing is that there is a lease renewal deal on the table.
Oh, yeah.
But he will not approve that deal.
And when he said that, I was just like, does he have to approve that deal?
Yeah.
He has to approve it.
Because really it's single entity.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So he will not approve the current deal. And he says, as of right now, and this is his words, the Whitecaps do not have a home for 2026. Now, I feel that's deliberately been said to be a headline that goes out there.
Yeah.
Somewhat annoyingly, that hasn't kind of gone out in the ether.
Mm-hmm.
That's not been... Because as soon as I listened back to this, didn't get a chance to listen on Friday, listened to it on Saturday, and I was like, how has that not been put out there? Because to me, that was the big takeaway from this whole half hour.
Yeah.
Because that is very worrying.
Yeah. You figure there'd be like a homeless Whitecaps that, it would be pretty.
Yeah. Now, he says he's optimistic a deal will get done, and I'm pretty sure it will, because, it's just one of those things to, again, push the narrative, push the buttons, and get the big dramatic thing out there. But he was also said, he was asked directly, is there a possibility it won't get done and the Whitecaps would have to leave the city? And he said yes. Now, whether that means in 2026, I don't know. Real Salt Lake, here we come.
It can't be.
We've got a home in Vegas in the World Cup year while we sort things out. I mean, it could be something as dramatic as that if they want to really, really play hardball. But can you imagine if the team wins the MLS Cup and then it's like we don't have a home to play in?
But that from Garber's perspective, that destroys the fan base, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it destroys everything. and it turns the fans against BC Place, Pavco, the government, which is kind of what they'd be wanting. So it might be the nuclear option to get what they want. Now, this is very much spitballing, and I do not think it's going to come to this in a million years. A deal will get done for 2026 at least.
Yeah.
I don't see it not. And he's optimistic, and he said he's had these dealings with cities all over North America, and they've always got a deal done. And I'm thinking, hey, you've not dealt with Canadian politicians. Or the Canadian public and how they view the spending, rightly so, of taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
And that's a big part in this because of the unique situation that BC Place is. It's owned by Pavco. It's a government-owned entity. And they have to be seen to be getting the best deal for a taxpayer and not giving a private business a sweetheart deal, or an even bigger sweetheart deal if they want to get looked at it that way. Because folk like Bob Mackin will be up in arms about this. Now, Don Garber said that he wants a new lease, but he also wants a new dynamic. And that dynamic could be that the league, the Whitecaps, someone connected as the title sponsor of the building.
Oh, yeah.
Is decided by them, and that the league or the Whitecaps control the building. They take on control of the building and take over the commercial operations, sell sponsorships if given the opportunity. And he said he's very open to doing that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Now, if I had been there, my follow-up question to that would have been, would you be interested in buying the building? Because it would be cheaper to buy that, put in grass, control the whole thing, than to build a new stadium. But from something else that he said, it doesn't feel that they would want to do that, because he was asked, is there any deal that BC Place could put on the table that would get you to say, okay, we won't bother with the soccer-specific stadium, we'll go for this? And he said no.
Yeah.
But buying the whole building is different from a deal being on the table.
Yeah, the way you talk about buying the building and putting in grass, and so I just can't see that being a way forward for Kerfoot, because there's so much cost and upkeep and like long-term commitment and stuff that it just feels, even though you're probably not wrong in terms of it being cheaper than buying a new place that they then, build to their liking to fit their needs or whatever.
Well, I think I saw the value of BC Place for like 225 million, but that will go up next year after all the renovations are done and it's become a World Cup venue.
Yeah. This is also weird.
I know. I mean, the long-term solution is clearly the soccer-specific stadium. And the P&E site has long been rumoured, and this is the first time it's been talked openly that, yes, that is the main site that they're having the discussions with. It was kind of hinted that, and we kind of knew this anyway, that Greg Kerfoot has been looking at lots of other sites over the years, but the current memorandum of understanding on the P&E site doesn't make sense to anybody. And what I feel that means, and this is the delicate side of this that nobody is really wanting to talk about because it involves the First Nations.
Right.
And they feel, because they've got the casino, that their lease for that gave them the right to the racecourse if the racecourse left. So they're wanting that. And from what people have done some digging, they are not prepared just to walk away and let the Whitecaps come in, do what they want and build it. They want a share of this. And because it's First Nations and it's very delicate subjects with everything that's going on, past, present, folk just won't talk about this. And it needs to be talked about. What seems to be what the Whitecaps and MLS and Carefoot wants to do is the Whitecaps want to do a package that would benefit the city and have sports, entertainment, and residential real estate as part of the whole redevelopment of the site. And they want the Whitecaps to be truly part of the community and to giving to the community. But for that to happen, there has to be well by all of these parties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I heard that, I thought, could they hand the entertainment side over as the First Nations sweetener? So it's like you get to build a bigger casino. You get to control maybe restaurants with that.
Yeah.
And would that be suitable for them? Or are they wanting to say, well, we want the land and we'll own the land and you can do what you want on the land? Which if that is what's on the table, I could see that that would be why everyone's like, yeah, that doesn't work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much that we don't know and there's so much that can't be talked about. But there's no timeline on this. BC Place is not going to be the long-term home, but there's also no concrete date to when a new stadium could be built. But they want everything, ideally, the lease and the new stadium, to be on a parallel path. And with Ken Sim very likely going to be getting voted out as Vancouver mayor come the September elections next year. I mean, he might not, but it's not looking good for him right now. I feel they need to get this done before he goes, because I don't feel whoever comes in is going to be as Whitecaps friendly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's just been interesting to see how this has played out over the last year. So part of what I hear you saying is that Kerfoot's willingness to sell the team last year was connected to this frustration over the stadium.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like, anyway.
But then sounds like a few months ago that it was like, no, we want to stay here. We want maybe some other people to join us as investors. And it sounds like
Don Garber says, as of now, because of the stadium, they're not an economically viable business.
Right. But so was it almost like at that time when they made that, not, I guess, is it 180 or a 90-degree turn or whatever they made from because last December they're like, the club's for sale. We're out.
It's like we're going to retire. We're thinking of our family, and
then it was like, no, we want to stay. We just want other people who in. Is that because things were progressing to build a stadium and now they've been halted?
My guess from everything that's been said is yes.
Okay. And so now you bring in Garber to try and help bring clarity.
Try and get it over the line.
Yeah.
And I mean, things will get done, but it looks messy. It looks tricky. So we'll see how it plays out. Let us know your thoughts on what was said there. A couple of other quick things that were mentioned by Garber there. The MLS schedule. They were talking again that they are going to switch the schedule. And we're going to talk snow in the next part, and we saw farcical conditions for things getting played today. And I saw people saying, well, if it's like this, why are MLS wanting to switch to the winter schedule? Because their games are going to be like this. Yeah, some games will be, but as Garber points out as well, the season starts in February, so teams are already having that. But the games that are going to get played in the winter are not meaningless, but they're less meaningful games. They're league games. They're not championship games. Whereas right now, you've got the MLS Cup in December that could be in Cincinnati or could be in Philadelphia with snow.
Oh, man. I can't imagine how cold it's going to be in Philadelphia, having been to a game there in March, and it was freezing.
But it's like when folk are like, "Oh, it won't work for MLS." Then, if you're looking at this, it's perfect for MLS because the championship game's going to be May.
Yeah, exactly. And the openers are going to be sunny.
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah.
And there'll be some tough games for some teams in the winter.
Yeah.
But you know what? If they clean the pitch of the snow, it's very possible
to play on it.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. in the next part as we turn our attention away from MLS. But let us know your thoughts on everything that was said
Yeah.
there.
Looking forward to hear the feedback on all
Yeah.
that.
Because folk have read some of what's out, but this is the first I'm getting to hear all of it. But we are going to turn our attention now to the CPL, and we'll be back with that after our second Britpop song.
Hi, I'm Ryan Gold, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the second of our Britpop songs for this show. And another band that's kind of on the fringes of Britpop. They're kind of alternative, psychedelic-y, folky punk. Also known as batshit crazy sounds as well, because a lot of their songs definitely are. And that was their fifth single. Their band is called Gorky's Zygotic Monkey. That was If Fingers Were Xylophones. And it's a band from Carmarthen in Wales. Fringes of Britpop, very much in what was cool Cymru pop for all the Welsh stuff that was coming out at that time as well. That song was also released on November 13th, 1994, charting 30 weeks ago at number 91. The band released 11 albums and a singles compilation before disbanding in 2006. I loved them. I've got a few of their albums. Definitely a weirdy, folky, punky style. Many of their songs are in Welsh language. And if you like what you heard there, I highly recommend checking out their sixth album, Barafundo. That's kind of your gateway to get into them. It's probably their most accessible album as well. It's a good starting point. And it features the absolutely wonderful single, the Patio song. Oh, my patio's on fire. Do you know what else was on fire? The CPL Championship game. There's my segue. I mean, they could have done with some fire to maybe melt the snow.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk CPL in this part, the final, and some of the awards that were handed out this week as well. So the CPL season has come to a close in kind of farcical conditions, and the bad boys of the league, Atletico Ottawa, won their first ever North Star Cup. 2-1 extra time win over Cavalry. What did you make of this day? A game that started at 2:20 in the afternoon Pacific time, and I think finished at the back of 6.
Yeah, I mean, it was something. I feel for the league in this, right? Because yeah, you see all the snow and you're worried about player safety and just the playability and all that kind of stuff. Those are all legitimate concerns. I'm also sure that for the league itself, with the league and the owners and whatever, with the way things are at for them in terms of still in a phase where they're trying to grow the game where it's viable, meaning they're taking losses. I'm not sure. I wonder how much that factored in terms of like, hey, we can't postpone this a day or a week or whatever, because then it's going to cost us tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, I don't say that as by way of, just, absolving them of any
No.
negative criticism when it comes to this match. But I do wonder, like, how serious that was how serious that was a factor in all of this, right? Because yeah, you look at the conditions, and for me, I was thinking of a couple of things. I was thinking of, my high school pigskin game that was in 2.5, 3 feet of snow that we played in. That drastically altered the game, no matter how much shoveling of snow on a cold Sudbury, whatever night that was. I think it was nighttime. And then I also thought of driving to Edmonton for a Voyageurs Cup match that, in the first week of May had to be postponed because
Yeah.
there was
I
so
thought you were
much
going to talk about the Ice thing, but I forgot about that one.
No, yeah, and then I thought about Azteca. I thought about the Jamaica game to clinch the qualification for the World Cup that I attended, where the snow played more of a
You
joyful
went there of your own accord, didn't you?
of my own accord with my whole family. Yeah. So yeah, it was awkward, but I also felt it was the awkwardness of it was heightened by the fact of how just even how they handled it. So it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, we have to play this game, it's got to happen, but then even the the amount of clearing and the way in which they cleared the pitch and the timings in which they cleared the pitch and how much of they cleared, I think those things are really valid in terms of being critiqued, right? Because even at halftime, you're like, why didn't you clear the whole field at halftime to make it more playable? I know the snow was still coming down much harder then, would be one of the perspectives on that. But it was not to agree with Mejia I don't like to agree with Mejia on things, but right. I mean, before in the lead up to the game, the people I watched the game with, I said, look, what's going to happen here is I think Cavalry has the advantage because I think they're far more as a team used to playing in these types of conditions. They're going to be able to adapt better. They're going to win the game. And at the end of the game, he is going to stand up and say, that wasn't football. That's not how it should have happened. It shouldn't, but, and he sort of said that at halftime when they interviewed him. He said, this is not football. Right. So yeah, it was. So in one sense, I understand the criticism. On the other side, I understand probably that there were factors and realities that forced this to go ahead. And then the other thing I'll say is when you put all those things to the side, it is still kind of this kind of epic day in Canadian football, right? Like it is a day that those who attended will never forget if they ever thaw out. And, if you're, an Ottawa fan, it's like the day you first won the CPL. I get to confuse. This is the cup, right? The North Star Cup.
Yes.
The Shield is the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll never forget it for that, right? Like, there's all these amazing memories around it, but I do wonder how much the league will be evaluating and saying, okay, we need to be prepared for this, for situations like this in the future. What are our options? And you got to imagine that there's some people who will encourage them to be more mindful of, let's say, player safety and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I would think the union will speak to them about that. Now, I was talking a lot on social media about this during the game, and opinions are very split as to whether the game should have gone ahead, whether it shouldn't, and we'll get into a little bit of these things. Two messages I want to read out from towards the end of the stuff. A guy on Twitter called 25 Grapes said, you can bet the championship will be played in October moving forward, which would be ideal, but it just doesn't seem feasible, especially if there's another team coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're having midweek games to make that happen. But I think, as you touched upon there, a very good point raised by Zakita Nadarov, who said, Do you think the league can afford to postpone the game?
Yeah.
And that will have factored into it because they're on TSN. All the fans are there. There's the travel. You've also got an international window coming up.
Yep.
Shamit Shom is flying off to go and play for Bangladesh.
Yep.
So there's things like that to factor in as well. What I would say is some other examples of the games in these snowy conditions. The NSL game between Toronto and Montreal also being shown on TSN, postponed till tomorrow. So that's one thing. In the college game, we had the farcical two different things in U Sports. In the men's side, in Toronto, they played the bronze and the gold medal game in similar conditions, didn't have the snow off the pitch. It made a mockery of the men's final. It went to extra time with no team looking like they were going to score. And in the end, a referee gave a 116th minute penalty for a handball when the ball hit a guy's head. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
The women's side down in Hamilton said, we're not playing until we can get the pitch cleared. So they were bringing in ploughs and tractors. But it took so long for them to get it that they ended up postponing the bronze game. And then the women's game started many, many hours later than it was meant to. But it was on a cleared pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I heard reports from the NSL that they literally did not have people to get the facilities ready. And they were having like fans volunteer come in to try and clear, whether it's clear the pitch or the stands or both or whatever. And they literally did not have enough human resources, human people to help make things viable to play or whatever. Whereas, I mean, at least with this final, at least there was a little bit of like, okay, I mean, the crazy thing is that the 30 minutes of time added on felt more like football.
Yes.
It felt like like it was like a weird mini game to decide the winner.
Yeah. As soon as it went to extra time, I had said to someone, "Oh, it's advantage Ottawa now because the pitch is cleared." Oh, it was you who said it. I said to someone else as well. But the pitch is cleared, so now this plays into Ottawa. Calgary had their chance in the 90 minutes, and the Cavs just couldn't get it done in those conditions. Now, a couple of things I want to say. I'm not against playing football in the snow. I've been to games in Scotland in the snow. It comes down, it's a light scattering on the pitch. Cold conditions, that comes with it as well. We're in Canada. You're going to get this in the winter games. Been to freezing cold conditions in Scotland as well. You don't play a game, though, if it's a waterlogged pitch, if it's torrential rain that's leaving puddles over the pitch. Wind can see games called off if it's unplayable. The ball has to be able to roll freely for me, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Now, if you're playing in those conditions, fine. All I ask for is you clear the pitch. And if you can't get the snow off the pitch, you do not play the game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not football. And you mentioned Diego Mejia. Here's one of his quotes from a winning coach after the game. This is not a soccer match. This is not soccer, guys. But even if we were playing in water, in a pool, we would win.
Endearing himself to more people.
Yes. Maybe he's starting to win me round. I don't know. But I've seen people say, oh, this is one of those iconic Canadian moments. It'll be in Canadian folklore forever. And yes, I get it. It was striking visuals. Did I enjoy watching it because it was farcical? Yes. Was it fun? Yes. Would I enjoy playing in a game like that? Yes. Did we get an orange ball? Yes. Unlike the UBC game where they played with a yellow ball and then the snow started to come down and I couldn't see the ball.
Oh, no.
But the orange ball was great. So all of that was fantastic. If this was a league game, I wouldn't be complaining anywhere near as much. This is your championship game. It's your showcase game. So much is on the line, including a place in the Champions Cup that could bring with it a lot of wealth. You can't have your showcase game played in conditions like that. If they'd cleared the pitch, and I know they did clear it before the game started and then the snow came down, but when you've got the commentators talking about, oh, the ball, when it goes, it's like halfway up the ball, or, oh, the snow's up to their shin pads now, that's not funny. That is not football. And folk are like, oh, this will put the league on the map. Folk will see this and they'll be talking about it. Yeah, it's a great viral moment. David Rodriguez's stunning bicycle kick is epic. It'll go around the world. It might win a Puskas.
The icicle?
The icicle? Someone's getting called. I love that.
I saw someone call it that. Yeah.
I mean, that is great, and it's another great Canadian heritage moment. It will go around the world. Folk will see this around the world. But do you think people around the world in Europe, South America, are going to watch this and think, what a great professional league that is? Do you think players and agents are going to watch that and think, oh, I'd love my players to go and play there? And you might be listening to this going, who cares what they think in Europe and South America? You should.
Yeah, no, I think there's a little bit of concern over that. I think there's also that can be mitigated by people actually understanding what was going on, right? And by the fact that it's like, how many games have been played like this in CPL history? Is this the only one that I can think of off the top of my head, right? So
I mean, there's been some games in the snow in Cavalry, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay.
But they have cleared it mmostly off the pitch.
Yeah, they get the horse to pull the sleigh.
Yes.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I don't know how much it can or will hurt recruitment. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt it drastically, but I'm just saying, folk are like, oh, this is a brilliant moment. Folks going to be talking about the league. Yeah, but not necessarily for the reasons that you think they're going to be talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm meaning. Like, you can see this being played in shows in the UK going, this is why North American soccer is ridiculous, and because they've got such a low opinion of the game over here. And yet I don't genuinely care too much about what folk back home think about the game over here, because a lot of it's based in ignorance and they don't understand the quality of it. But things like this don't help. I had one guy in America that said I was a soft cock Canadian for wanting the game called off, but I pointed out I wasn't Canadian, and then he didn't reply to that. But as for the game...
Wait, you are Canadian, though.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't think of myself as Canadian. I hold a Canadian passport. If I was born in a stable, I'm not a horse. That was what my gran used to say.
Oh, my.
She was a strange lady. The game itself. Fraser Aird, former Whitecap, put Cavalry ahead in the 33rd minute from a penalty. 7 minutes later, stunning David Rodriguez equaliser, bicycle kick, in off the bar, Marco Carducci beaten. And it was an epic goal. In any game, it was an epic goal. In those conditions, even more. And especially for Rodriguez, who, when he was in the lineup at the start, was absolutely shivering and had said he'd never seen snow before.
Yeah, he's had quite the season. I think without some of his suspensions and stuff, he would have been a bigger shout for the player of the year, which we'll talk about maybe. But
I think he was a bit hurt that he wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
And I get that, because when he scored the winner, which came in the 106th minute, I think it was,
also
I said to you, what's that?
Also a great goal.
Yeah, I said to you, he's quality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No one does his quality, just some of his antics, which you saw also in the final.
Hey, if I'm an MLS side, Toronto or Whitecaps, I'm like, hey, let's get this kid in pre-season, see what he's like.
Yeah. One of the most frustrating moments of the match was I think it was after Ottawa had gotten the lead. And
oh no, is this a tackle?
I don't know. It's actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll let you say what you're saying. Sorry for interrupting.
It was a foul. It was a yellow card were given, and I think it was like I can't remember which player it was. It was maybe 11. What's his name? Anyways, the Ottawa left back. He got sort of tackled, goes off the pitch into the boards.
Oh, this is the incident. Yes, and he gets hauled back on.
Yes, and
In
Claremont
front of a Canadian soccer official that's there with a jacket.
Yeah, he gets pulled back on the field so they can waste time while he gets treated. It took like a minute and a half off the.
Yep.
I don't know.
I think it was the fourth official because he'd come on to separate them coming together after the tackle.
Like, how is that not bookable? How did someone not notice that? Because technically, by the laws of the game, and Darnell or someone can correct us on this, but my understanding, because I've had it happen before, if you leave the field of play, and now maybe this is because it was during play and it was like he got forced out, but you can't return to the field of play without the referee's permission.
Yeah, in normal circumstances. Like he was dragged on along the ground as well in those conditions, which I can't remember who dragged him in, but it's like no consideration for his safety there.
It was Kluche dragged him on. That's who dragged him on.
But I thought you were going to talk about before the goal, a tackle from Ottawa right at the start of extra time that should have been a red card and wasn't given.
Yes.
And that was a shocking challenge.
Yeah, I think
it was shocking when I saw it live, and when I saw the replay, it was even worse.
On Toby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a league with VAR, I think that's sending off.
And it was like right as soon as they started after.
I was a little surprised. I was also a little surprised with the snow that they didn't have Rudolph referee the game.
Hey, with his red nose.
There you go.
He could have led the way.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, they played the 90 minutes in snow and then said, and this was with stoppages to clear the pitch every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, what we're going to do, I thought they would just go straight to penalties, but they decided to have extra time. We're going to clear the whole pitch now, and it's going to take 40 minutes, although it took longer.
Took like an hour, yeah.
And it's like the players are getting cold, they can seize up, but it's like you've made it a different game. If you're starting it and playing 90 minutes in the snow, finish it in the snow.
Yeah, to be fair, it was very helpful, and it made it actually quite an interesting match.
Yeah, it was a good extra time. For the winner from Rodriguez, I would say I think Carducci's hesitation is what cost him. He was going to fly out, and he's like, "Oh, I can't. I'm going to get chipped." And then he waited so long, and he's like, "I'm going to have to come out now." That it was a game over by that point.
I was gutted, absolutely gutted for him because but right before that, they played a very similar ball, so a switched ball out to Rodriguez out on the wing, where I think it was still aired, had time, didn't adapt, didn't adjust super quickly, and then I think Rodriguez made it to a byline and created that kind of double chance out front or whatever, where there was a great block, but it was just like they had seen where they could be exposed. And it was like they went right back to it, and yeah, it was a good pass and a great first touch. And as much as I have some issues with Rodriguez, it was extremely well taken.
Yeah, I genuinely would love to see him at the Whitecaps and see what he would do in that attack. Might be a luxury that we maybe don't need with some of our other options, but you never know who's moving on, and he would be a cheaper option to bring in as well. He can definitely play at the higher level, but of course he could go back to Liga MX as well. Last thing I just want to say on it. First of all, I will say well done to Ottawa. They have played some great stuff this season, and they did what they needed to do in this final. And one thing they've shown all year, whenever they've fallen behind, especially at home, most of the time they can find a way to fight back.
True.
They showed it today as well. And I thought the Ottawa fans were tremendous today. Like, putting up in those conditions, they brought it, they sang, they stayed to the end. It was tremendous reward for them. Did I enjoy the game? Yes. Was it fun? Yes. Do I still think it was farcical? Yes. And you can still have both opinions.
Yeah.
I just feel, in Canada in particular, because so many of the comments were like, this is what we do here, or we play in the snow. We need to get out of that mindset of, we're Canada, we play in the snow. Oh, we're big tough guys and we go and do all this. You want to have the best football, and you want to have the best championship games and the best development. If someone had got injured in this, and they didn't, I know, but somebody could easily have broken their leg.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of bad injuries in the college games I was watching in the conditions, and they're just very lucky that nothing like that happened. But full credit to the players, they gave it their all. But when the ball's not rolling, I agree with Mahia. It's not a soccer match. I won't ask for listeners' opinions. I think I've had a lot on social media tonight from that on both sides. But it is a very polarising game. And I tell you, whatever your thought on it, whatever side you're on, folk will be talking about this for years to come.
Yeah, for real.
The game's gone viral. It's around the world. People have seen the scenes from it. People have seen that wonderful David Rodriguez goal, which incidentally is a goal worthy of any championship game in any conditions, anywhere in the world. But I'll leave you with this thought. And this I would like to get people's thoughts on. All the viralness from the occasion is fantastic. It's got people talking about the CPL. People know that there's a Canadian Premier League. But what is the long-term gain or benefit from it? Is there any? Is it just one of those moments in time that people are talking about and then it's next week's fish and chip paper? For anybody that tuned in just to watch that game in farcical conditions, that are listening to this and don't usually watch the CPL, would that make you tune in to CPL games next year? Have you come away from that game saying, oh, I've got to watch and support this league, it's fantastic? Or was it just that one moment, you've watched it, you're over it, and you're going to forget all about the league in 2026? Because if there's no long-term benefit from it, then the short-term talking, there's no such thing as bad publicity, then I don't know what the league get from it apart from some initial kind of hits and numbers. Let me know. But wow, what a weekend of football in action. Last bit for the show, the annual CPL awards were handed out on Friday. We'll kind of rattle through them. You can give any thoughts that you want. A couple of them clear, like the Golden Boot winner was obviously Sam Salter, and we'll come back to him in a sec. The Golden Glove Award to a goalkeeper that at the start of the season we were like, we don't think he's that good. Jassim Kolilat, Forge FC, a league record 13 clean sheets. So what do we know?
No, but a lot of those clean sheets are team clean sheets.
Yeah.
Like I still don't think he's not the
best keeper in the league.
No, and I don't think he was the best keeper in the league this year. Who was he up against in this? It was him and Carducci and Ingham.
Oh
right?
yeah, I was going to say it's going to be the Ottawa keeper. Yeah.
Yeah, to me of those three.
Ingham's the better keeper between him and Kolilat.
Yeah, but Ingham is.
Irvin's the best keeper all round, and we know that he's produced save after save to keep the score down. But when you're in the team that's given up the most goals and bottom, you're not going to.
Oh,
keeper of the year.
When you're talking about Ingham from Ottawa.
Yeah,
he's good for a howler every.
But he's good at shoveling the snow. He's multitasking.
Very good. Give him some golden gloves for that. But no, I think I don't know. Carducci. I mean, the bias aside, I think Carducci is the better keeper. Or the best
again, no, Cavs didn't have a great season, so that would have.
But again, I think they didn't have a great season due to it was more cumulative. It wasn't on him.
Yeah, the best Canadian under-21 player. Now, I think if it was just the best under-21 player, it would have gone to Diego Rodriguez.
Yes,
but it's best Canadian under-21 player. And it went to a guy that had a cup of coffee with the Whitecaps after the Super Draft one year, Thiago Coimbra.
Yeah, I mean, he won. I mean, the dude scored 12 goals. And in the CPL, that's crazy. Like, that's huge. Again, in this category, Thierno or Elijah Ba, who I think is a standout for me. But I think that's also... the people who vote on this, you're only supposed to take in account the league performances. So you're not supposed to count like his run in the Voyageurs Cup and all those other things. So
You know, it's the same in the MLS voting. You're not meant to look at like CONCACAF champions performances and everything.
So it's yeah, in some way a little bit understandable. It's understandable with Coimbra scoring the 12 goals that he would win this.
Interesting. I just had this thought in my head. I was like, is David Rodriguez under 21? He's not. He's 23.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is 23. Sorry, I should have known that.
I also didn't know he was with Austin on loan, but didn't make any appearances for them back in 2023.
Yeah, that seems like a missed opportunity for both.
And he was with North Texas in the USL. Dallas's.
Isn't he on loan?
Yes. So
Where's he from?
Atletico San Luis.
Right. So he's part of the Atletico.
Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking he'll probably go back to Liga MX.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So I just got distracted when I read that. I was like, oh, he's older than I actually thought he was. But I mean, Coimbra, great season. Brazilian Canadian, so he's got that Brazilian flair. Was 21 in January, but had a tremendous season with them. And yeah, I've like followed along on his journey, and he had a training stint, I think, with West Ham at some point and stuff as well. But yeah, I think that was a well-deserved award. Defender of the Year is definitely one I know you won't agree with. Your friend, the Butcher, Dan Nimick.
Well, he's more of a headhunter, but yeah.
13 clean sheets for that defence. He said it was a team effort.
Yeah, it was.
I thought he was going to get it.
Yes, it's it. I mean, he was going to get it because not only is he up for the Defender of the Year, he's also up for Player of the Year. So yeah. It was one of those things, and it was who were the other options? Like his partner in the back line and the guy from Ottawa, whose name I always butcher,
Abitina.
Yeah,
that's something like that. Which I think I've just butchered. I've butchered enough names this week. I don't want to butcher anymore. And then we come to Sam Salter, Atletico Ottawa, Golden Boot winner after 19 goals, a record, and 4 assists in the regular season. Players Player of the Year and Player of the Year, all claimed by the 25-year-old striker in his last season in the CPL, for now at least, before heading over to Sweden, where I'm sure he'll get used to more snow, with top flight side. Is it Gaze? I don't know.
It's where Matteo Di Brienne is. That's what
So this is a move. We've talked about it already, but this will be interesting to see how he adjusts. It's a good quality league, the Swedish league. I think he'll do better than Borges did when he went to Belgium, which was a tougher league to go to. But he's had a breakout year.
Both Borges and Klomp both went to Belgium, I believe, Division 2.
Yeah.
And both returned,
struggling
too quickly.
Yeah. So, yeah, well done to Sam Salter. Fantastic year. Caps it off now with a championship as well. And the last award, after never winning it up to last year, somehow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Bobby Smirniotis, back-to-back Coach of the Year. And again, very well deserved.
Yep. Congratulations to him.
I mean, we'll unpack the CPL season a bit in our December end of year reviews. I still want to have a chat with James Johnson before the end of the year, which I'd thought about lining up for this show, but then we had Don Garber. I thought 2 commissioners, we're not going to be able to unpack all of that. So we'll get him on before the end of the year. But just final thoughts on this CPL season? Lived up to what you were hoping for?
I think it was another good year for the league. The league has some exciting opportunities with the Supra joining and this kind of all Quebec approach that they're trying to take, and some of the people who are already a part of what they're doing. The league has challenges. They have challenges in terms of, 6-5 trying to sell one of their clubs in Pacific FC. In terms of what do you do with a problem like Valor? What happens there? Because in a league where all the owners are losing money, they're losing more money now because their operating valor essentially, right?
And you saw how that ended for Edmonton.
Exactly. So there were pros, there was cons. I think there was many, many, many exciting matches. In terms of challenges, we've talked about it a lot, but the officiating needs to be addressed, and that's obviously a Canada soccer issue.
Yeah.
But maybe it's VAR light if the league can afford that investment.
I saw James Johnson did a State of the League address, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet. It's up on One Soccer YouTube.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch it. He was on, was it halftime or pregame or something where I heard just a little bit of him talking, but yeah, I haven't listened to everything yet.
I mean, we'll touch on that when we get to speak to him as well. But yeah, I'll try and watch that this week and see what he said. I've enjoyed it. It's been another great year, and exciting playoffs and some record-breaking runs, some record-breaking goals. I'm excited to see what Supra can do next year because Quebec soccer is like amazing at the moment. The last 2 years at collegiate level, and this is for the players before they go off to university in Quebec, have been both the finalists in the women's CCAA. They've been strong in the men's as well. Montreal Carabine winning the women's U Sports today. And in the men's side, there was some good runs from the French teams this year and previous year. At youth level, the French youth clubs have been winning at U17 and U15. It's just been an amazing time for Quebec soccer. Now they've got a CPL team, and I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about where they're going to find the players, right? Like we talked about before, like Emmerich Fotzing's not going anywhere. Are they going to be able to bring in TMG? I'm sure he's got another year or two guaranteed in Halifax. What's his name?
Well, they need some of these experienced guys for sure.
Yeah, so like I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull this off.
But the young guys and the young talent is, well, from Fotzing.
But they need a little bit of experience to go to balance that, to go with it.
There's so much hope for the club as well that having a bad inaugural season, I don't think is even on the cards for them, but it could certainly happen if the recruitment's not right.
I wouldn't recommend.
They could bring back Samuel Piet. It's like maybe bring him in,
that could be an option if he's ready for that. But I agree with you. You do not want to have your inaugural season just be really, really poor on the field.
But it's been a good year for CPL. And we'll talk more about it before the year's out and into next year as well. Maybe have a couple of end-of-season interviews with players from around the league. That's pretty much it for the football chat. We'll wrap things up, as we always do, with this episode's wavelength, a song all about football or based around football. And because of all the talk of snow this week, Zach, I wanted to get a song about an orange ball, but the only one that I knew I've already played on the show. So I'm keeping the orange theme, literally and figuratively, by bringing back perennial favourites that we've played a lot in this segment, Halftime Oranges from Norwich in England. And this is a song of theirs called Theme from Orange, from their second album of football songs, Rotterdam Nation, released in 1997. And it's all about that thing that... What do we love most at halftime, Zach? Apart from getting pulled off. Halftime Oranges. This is Halftime Oranges, Theme from Orange.
Interval on a windswept winter's day, and your bottom of your league, and the skies are wet and grey, and your legs and back are aching, and you want an early bath. Then there's only one solution, helps you face the second half. You played 6 games in the fortnight and you're facing Vinnie Jones. You got the job of beating once you see the difference, you'll become a citrus fan. Such a half-time orange, a refreshing football food. It'll fill you with new energy, and you'll win the golden boot. Such a half-time orange, you will feel a brand new man. And once you see the difference, you'll become a citrus fan.
Halftime Oranges theme from Oranges, with the wonderful lines about sucking a half-time orange. That is it now for the show. Just before we go though, Zach, any final thoughts from you? This is the James Cameron section.
Yeah, well, want to give shout outs to two players. James Cameron scored. I think he's playing up on the wing again for Colorado Rapids 2 in the MLS Next Pro final.
What was that celebration about, though? It looked like he shot himself.
No, it was, I don't know, it was weird. It was good. He scored against Deadpool 2 at the former Deadpool Arena. Now, what is it? It's the Sports Illustrated Stadium or something it's called. Anyways, I think he put them up. Did he put them up 2-1 or something? Anyways, the game ended.
Yeah, they were ahead. They were coasting.
The game ended at 3-3, and then they lost in a shootout. Unfortunately,
I watched extra time and penalties. I'd got back to my hotel room, and after the Miami game was like a blowout. I was like, I'm going to stick this on instead. So I saw the extra time and penalties.
What did you think?
That was a horrible penalty shootout from the Rapids. I mean, their keeper was superb.
Yeah,
but the kicks weren't great.
No.
Yeah, they threw it away. I mean, I think they just maybe tired as the game went on, but they'd had a good season. They knocked the Whitecaps 2 out in a very close contest. But for a league where penalty shootouts decide draws, so you have a lot of them over the course of the season.
It was a bad one.
It was bad. But it's obviously players. It's easy for me to watch it at home and go, oh, they should have scored that. Nerves are just flooding through you. And once you've missed the first two, it's like the pressure is just ratcheted up on you.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to James. Again, hopefully this helps him in the next phase, next chapter of his career, whether that's more time with Colorado 2 or it's an opportunity to make the breakthrough with their first team in Colorado under a new head coach, or it opens the next door for him, because I have a lot of time for him, a lot of respect for him, and I'm excited to see what happens to him in his career. Also, one other, I haven't seen this goal actually, but I want to give a shout out to another former Eagle, and that is Grady McDonough, who has scored.
I saw your Instagram.
Yeah, scored for Ireland at the U17 World Cup in Doha. So yeah, shout outs to him, and just I'm looking forward to actually seeing a clip of that goal and seeing. I think they were 6 for 6 in points, so they'll probably be advancing and seeing what he can continue to do. I think this is why I was a little disappointed. I was looking at was it last week or whatever? I was looking at when his U19 side visited Munich for the game. He wasn't in the squad, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" But I think he was already away with the national team getting ready for the World Cup. Just excited to see him progress, and I think this is a very, very significant part of his journey. So
yes, I was having discussions with someone with connections actually to the Irish FAI, and they're very high on him.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to get him in. They wanted him to get that development. They were a little wary about him when he went to Vancouver FC, to be honest, and he didn't initially feature in some of the scores that they had, but then they brought him back in, and he's excelled since then. But talking to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, brilliant start for Canada.
Oh yeah.
Coming from behind to beat Uganda. Now, if it hadn't been Canada, I would have been absolutely heartbroken for Uganda.
Yeah.
Instead, I was just gutted because they were so close to getting their first ever victory in their first ever World Cup game at any level.
Yeah.
And it just gets taken away from them by a stunning late comeback. But then a 0-0 draw with France was tremendous as well. So Canada never won a World Cup game before.
I think 17 of them.
Yeah. Should be moving on as well.
Yeah, when's it's the Chile game? Is it Monday? Is it today? I gotta watch it today, or is it tomorrow?
No, because they just played the France game. I
The
want to
France
say,
game was Saturday?
yeah, I want to say it's Thursday.
Okay. I gotta make sure I watch that live or on repeat.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the France game, so I just checked the score. But yeah,
Also,
well done.
you know who's working with the team, right?
Maybe.
My good friend Jeevan Kang is there in Doha working as like a team liaison, or like I forget his title within the team. He's working for.
He's my friend too. He's not as good a friend as he is to you, but no, I've known Jeevan for years from coming through the Whitecaps Academy, and yeah, that's fantastic for him.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for the show. Want to give big congratulations and good wishes to Vancouver Rise for the NSL Championship game this coming weekend. We'll talk about that in the next show. We'll have a lot of Whitecaps chat in the build-up to the big Whitecaps LAFC game. And good luck to Scotland against Greece on Friday. But the big one coming up a week on Tuesday against Denmark. Maybe have a little chat with Jesper Sorensen in the build-up to that as well. Get some of his thoughts on that. But thank you for being with us for another episode. 700 strong of the main one, over 100 of the extra one. Thank you for being with us, whether from the start, joining along the way, or whether you're one of the new listeners. Hopefully, here's to the next 700. I don't know that I've got that in me, but we'll definitely try and get to 1,000, as I always keep saying. But yeah, thanks to everyone that supported and donated and everything this year. It's been a great feedback from everyone. We will be back with another episode soon. Until then, thanks for listening. Take care. Amon the Caps and Allez Le Rouge.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.
AFTN